Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal Venerable. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 441. Agreement reached, comprehending the origin artifact of Saber Tao. TL. Etude. For others, 5 years might just be 5 years, but for Yi Tian, it was far more than that. Possessing a time talent, he could accelerate time by 30-fold, making 5 years equivalent to 150 years for him. Comprehending the Saber Tao origin artifact for 150 years was baffling. Coupled with Yi Tian's top-tier comprehension talent, which could amplify his understanding by 20-fold, he could easily elevate his comprehension of the Saber Tao to an exceedingly high level until the Saber Tao origin artifact was no longer of much use to him. Once his realm in the Saber Tao improved to over 75%, Yi Tian could then cultivate the supreme level saber technique Heartless God Saber technique. By then, his strength would once again increase significantly. Our Sword Emperor Sect's origin artifacts are mostly related to the Sword Tao. We did acquire an Saber Tao origin artifact once, but it has been sealed in the treasury, accessible only by the sect master. I will need to consult the sect master after I return, which will take some time," said Black Abyss Sword Monarch in a deep voice. "That's fine, I'll wait, but before any agreement is signed, I won't release the true sword Heavenly Pride." Yi Tian was cautious not to release the true sword Heavenly Pride only for the Sword Emperor sect to renege on their promise, which would be a significant loss for him. "All right," agreed Black Abyss Sword Monarch with a grim face before turning and disappearing from sight. At this moment, many powerhouses above the god level looked at Yi Tian with admiration. After all, it wasn't something ordinary people could do to threaten the Sword Emperor sect. However, some thought Yi Tian was insane for provoking the Sword Emperor sect, believing he wouldn't live long. Yi Tian then returned to his temporary villa, waiting quietly. The true sword Heavenly Pride was captured by the Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws, who then threatened the Sword Emperor sect to allow him to comprehend the Saber Tao origin artifact for 5 years, otherwise he wouldn't release him. The Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws has such audacity. Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride was genuinely stunned. He recalled his encounter with Raging Sun Heavenly Pride. Although Yi Tian took their permission tokens, their overall loss wasn't significant. Had they been captured by Yi Tian back then, and had Yi Tian demanded benefits from the Divine Desolate Hall and the Eternal Sect, they would have lost all their dignity. Fortunately, their luck wasn't too bad. For a moment, he started to sympathize with the true sword Heavenly Pride. Out of all people, the true sword Heavenly Pride chose to challenge Yi Tian and ended up being captured directly. Apart from Crescent Heavenly Pride and Raging Sun Heavenly Pride, the other 9 peerless Heavenly Prides in the Hengpan Galaxy also became wary of Yi Tian. There weren't many 9-star peerless Heavenly Prides in the entire Hengpan Galaxy, only about a dozen or so. But the strength of these 9-star peerless Heavenly Prides was not much different from each other. Yi Tian's ability to capture the true sword Heavenly Pride alive meant it wasn't an exaggeration to call him the #1 Heavenly Pride in the Hengpan Galaxy. Having a Heavenly Pride from another galaxy take the position of the #1 Heavenly Pride in the Hengpan Galaxy didn't sit well with many forces. But Yi Tian's strength was indeed formidable. Many forces even analyzed the battle between Yi Tian and the true sword Heavenly Pride, and after careful calculation, they concluded that the other 9-star peerless Heavenly Prides indeed couldn't defeat Yi Tian. With a perfected level super god level saber technique, spatial divine abilities, and top-tier metal attribute divine abilities perfected, these skills almost made Yi Tian invincible. The outside world expected the 4 dominant forces to make some moves, but they didn't react at all, which made many forces curious. But Yi Tian was very clear that the 4 dominant forces and a few 9-star forces knew the secret of becoming a child of the universe. No matter how strong the combat power was, if one didn't have the 4th level of heart condition, they couldn't break through the 20th physical limit and become a child of the universe. Only those 4 dominant forces and a few 9-star forces had the methods to enhance the heart condition. They believed Yi Tian didn't have a heart condition method, so they didn't take him seriously. After all, who would care about a 9-star peerless heavenly pride who couldn't become a child of the universe? All forces, including Raging Sun Heavenly Pride and Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride, who revealed the secret to ETN, didn't know that ETN possessed a heart condition cultivation method and had even advanced to the 4th level of heart condition. If they had known, the 4 dominant forces would have been in a panic by now. Time slowly passed. On the 3rd day, Black Abyss Sword Monarch came before ETN again. Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws, our sect master has agreed to let you comprehend the Saber Dao origin artifact. Here is the agreement, please sign it. Black Abyss Sword Monarch presented an agreement filled with the patterns of laws, saying. Once the agreement of laws was signed, it was difficult for any martial warrior to renege, but it required both parties to sincerely sign it. ETN carefully checked it, and after confirming there were no issues, he inscribed his name with his soul's breath, and Black Abyss Sword Monarch did the same. Boom! The agreement of laws took effect, transforming into 2 beams of light, which flew into ETN and Black Abyss Sword Monarch's bodies, respectively. Where's the true Sword Heavenly Pride? Release him. Black Abyss Sword Monarch urged. Seeing the agreement take effect and knowing the Sword Emperor sect wouldn't dare to go back on their word, ETN waved his hand and released the true Sword Heavenly Pride. At that moment, the true Sword Heavenly Pride was heavily injured, his aura extremely weak. Upon seeing Black Abyss Sword Monarch, the true Sword Heavenly Pride wanted to say something, but was met with a cold snort from Black Abyss Sword Monarch, useless. Hearing this, the true Sword Heavenly Pride felt an immense shame and dared not say a word. Someone, take the true Sword Heavenly Pride back, commanded Black Abyss Sword Monarch. Following his order, 2 god-level powerhouses appeared and took the true Sword Heavenly Pride away. Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws, let me take you to where the Saber Dao origin artifact is, said Black Abyss Sword Monarch, somewhat reluctantly. Thank you, Black Abyss Sword Monarch. ETN was in a good mood, as he was about to comprehend the Saber Dao origin artifact. Shortly after, they set off. Before long, ETN arrived at the headquarters of the Sword Emperor sect. The headquarters of the Sword Emperor sect was located on a huge planet, as large as the main planet of a galaxy. This illustrated the immense power of the Sword Emperor sect, with countless disciples and an unknown number of powerhouses above the god level. This was the foundation of a top-tier 9-star force. ETN didn't enter the core area of the Sword Emperor sect but arrived at a remote Great Hall. The Saber Dao origin artifact is placed inside this Great Hall. You can see it once you enter. After 5 years, you must come out, or we will send someone to fetch you. Black Abyss Sword Monarch said, pointing at the Great Hall. ETN nodded and walked into the Great Hall. The interior of the Great Hall wasn't large. A divine saber floated in midair, with chains locking the blade, connecting it to the Great Hall. HMPH, are they afraid it'll take this Saber Dao origin artifact? They are indeed cautious. ETN chuckled. As he approached, ETN sensed the aura of the Saber Dao origin artifact and his expression changed slightly. The aura of this Saber Dao origin artifact is much weaker than that of the Sword Dao origin artifact I encountered before. Upon further thought, ETN understood the reason. It was because the people from the Sword Emperor sect had extracted some of the Saber Dao essence, significantly weakening the effect of this Saber Dao origin artifact. Moreover, once the Saber Dao essence was extracted, it wouldn't bestow any more Saber Dao essence. For example, when Yun Shi absorbed a strand of the Sword Dao origin essence from the Sword Dao origin artifact, one wouldn't be able to obtain any more Sword Dao essence thereafter. The people of the Sword Emperor sect feared that ETN might absorb a strand of the Saber Dao essence, so they directly extracted it themselves to prevent ETN from benefiting. Never mind, it's reasonable for the people of the Sword Emperor sect to do this. If I were in their place, I would do the same. ETN didn't dwell on this minor issue. For him, comprehending for 5 years was enough to elevate his Saber Dao realm to an extremely high level, without the need to absorb any Saber Dao origin. HMPH, 5 years. After 5 years, you'll see what a depleted origin artifact is. ETN thought to himself with a smirk. After all, while comprehending, he would also consume the power of the Saber Dao origin artifact. Otherwise, the Yun family wouldn't have opened the ancestral heritage site for only a month. So many people comprehending next to the origin artifact for a month would also consume a lot of its power. Over time, it could damage the origin artifact. Now, with ETN comprehending alone for 5 years, it wouldn't necessarily damage the Saber Dao origin artifact. However, ETN possessed the time talent, which was something the Sword Emperor sect couldn't have anticipated. Continuous comprehension, especially since some of the origin had already been extracted from the Saber Dao origin artifact, was bound to be depleted. E degree squared n diaresis squared L. Diaresis m. Anyway, since Yi Tian couldn't obtain this Saber Dao origin artifact, he wasn't afraid to deplete it. Let's start the cultivation. Yi Tian sat cross-legged, activated his top-tier comprehension talent and time talent, and began comprehending the Saber Dao. Chapter 441.txt. Chapter 442. The number 1 heavenly pride on the golden list. TL. Etude. Assisted by his top-tier comprehension talent and pseudo-mystic level time talent, Yi Tian's comprehension of the Saber Dao progressed at an incredible speed, reaching a pace beyond imagination. In just over 10 days, Yi Tian had improved his Saber Dao realm to 70%. After reaching 70%, the advancement in the Saber Dao realm slowed down significantly. Origin artifacts were also categorized by tiers, and this Saber Dao origin artifact was definitely of a lower tier. The origin artifacts owned by the Yun family were also of lower tiers. Therefore, when Yi Tian's Saber Dao realm reached 70%, the effectiveness became quite minimal. However, Yi Tian was not greedy, he only hoped to elevate his Saber Dao realm above 75%. Even though it took 150 years just to improve the Saber Dao realm to 75%, other heavenly prides would definitely be unwilling, as their lifespans were only about 300 years. They wouldn't want to spend such a long time improving their Saber Dao realm by just a bit. But Yi Tian wasn't worried. With a lifespan of 13,000 years, what were a mere 150 years if he could enhance his Saber Dao realm to over 75%? It would allow him to cultivate supreme-level saber techniques, making him much stronger than he currently was. As time passed by, a year went by in the blink of an eye. In the external world, a year had passed, but under the influence of the time talent, Yi Tian had contemplated for 30 years. Now, he had elevated his Saber Dao realm to 73%, not far from the 75% realm. Of course, Yi Tian wasn't always focused on comprehending the Saber Dao realm, he occasionally cultivated other aspects, such as contemplating the mysteries of time, studying the Palm Dao, and so on. According to my calculations, to elevate the Saber Dao to 75%, I probably need 3 more years. Yi Tian frowned. These 3 years referred to the external world, and it was indeed longer than Yi Tian had budgeted to improve his Saber Dao realm to 75%. He initially sensed that he could reach the 75% realm within 1 or 2 years, but the effect of this Saber Dao origin artifact was diminishing. Now, the power of the Saber Dao origin artifact was continuously weakening, and its aura was getting fainter. After all, Yi Tian had relied on it for cultivation for such a long time, depleting much of its power and causing its origin to weaken. Continue to contemplate, murmured Yi Tian. In the blink of an eye, another 3 years passed in the outside world. By then, Yi Tian had been in the Sword Emperor sect for a total of 4 years. On this day, Yi Tian burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, my Saber Dao realm has finally reached the 75% realm. Yi Tian was extremely excited. This meant he could now cultivate the Heartless God Saber technique, a supreme-level saber technique. Therefore, Yi Tian didn't continue to contemplate the Saber Dao. After all, continuing to do so wouldn't allow him to elevate his Saber Dao realm to 76%, so he might as well use the time to cultivate the Heartless God Saber technique. The Heartless God Saber technique was a supreme-level saber technique and inherently difficult to cultivate. If he were to rely solely on himself, it would probably take a lot of time to master it. However, with the aid of the Saber Dao origin artifact, it would be possible to master it to the entry level in a short time. Thus, Yi Tian started to cultivate the Heartless God Saber technique in this Grand Hall, aided by the Saber Dao origin artifact. The Heartless God Saber technique required a strong heart condition and a saber realm of 75%, both of which Yi Tian met. Therefore, there were no bottlenecks during the cultivation process. Day after day passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. During these 3 months, Yi Tian didn't use the time talent, focusing solely on cultivation. After 3 months of diligent cultivation, Yi Tian finally cultivated the Heartless God Saber technique to the entry level. However, he didn't stop there but continued to refine the Heartless God Saber technique. He wanted to become even more proficient in the Heartless God Saber technique, making it more effortless to use. And so Yi Tian stayed there for a full 5 years before finally stepping out of the Grand Hall. When Yi Tian left the Grand Hall, the Black Abyss Sword Monarch of the Sword Emperor sect came to the hall, planning to take away the Saber Dao origin artifact. Previously, the Saber Dao origin artifact wasn't here but in the treasure vault of the Sword Emperor sect. He had placed the Saber Dao origin artifact here, as it wasn't possible to let Yi Tian enter the treasure vault of the Sword Emperor sect to contemplate this Saber Dao origin artifact. But when the Black Abyss Sword Monarch entered the Grand Hall and saw the Saber Dao origin artifact, he was stunned. What happened? The Black Abyss Sword Monarch was baffled. Now, this Saber Dao origin artifact barely retained any semblance of its original grandeur, resembling an ordinary weapon instead. Even the law patterns on its surface were faintly visible, its aura extremely weak, nothing like an origin artifact should be. Black Abyss Sword Monarch clearly understood what this implied, the unmistakable sign of an origin artifact's depleted essence. An origin artifact in such a condition was nearly useless, almost akin to waste, and its recovery seemed highly improbable. Restoring such an origin artifact would cost no less than acquiring a new one. It's impossible. The heavenly pride of 10,000 laws has only been cultivating for 5 years. How could one person deplete so much energy? How could the essence of the Saber Dao in this origin artifact be exhausted to this extent? Could he have found a way to drain all the Saber Dao essence from the origin artifact? Impossible. Not even an emperor level, let alone a great god level powerhouse, could accomplish such a feat. Black Abyss Sword Monarch raged incredulously. The loss of a Saber Dao origin artifact, though not a devastating blow to the Sword Emperor sect, could not be overlooked by the sect master, who would undoubtedly demand retribution. Being fully responsible for this matter, he was sure to face punishment. Damn you, heavenly pride of 10,000 laws. Just you wait, once you ascend to the god level, your doom is sealed. Black Abyss Sword Monarch harbored intense hatred for Yi Tian. Meanwhile, Yi Tian returned to Qingzhang City on the Hengpan continent, elated. His strength had increased significantly compared to 5 years ago. He had mastered the Heartless God Saber technique, nearing complete mastery. Even his time talent had improved to 20% at the mystic level, and he had unearthed a new time-related ability. Time retrospection. He could rewind time in a small area to review past events, but not for events involving true god level or higher beings, as the retrospective scene would shatter. This ability, usable only once a day, occasionally proved to be astonishingly useful for Yi Tian. With my current strength, slaying an average 9-star peerless heavenly pride is easy. However, breaking through the 20th physical limit proves challenging unless I can enter a high-level Yuan realm. From the memories inherited from the Universal True Lord, Yi Tian learned that Yuan realms were classified by levels. For instance, the Yuan realm where Earth originated was merely a low-level one, with not only inferior chaos primordial chi but also in scant amounts. It was impossible for a heavenly pride to break through the 20th physical limit in such a low-level Yuan realm, regardless of how long they cultivated there. Numerous powerful forces in the Pan-star field controlled 1 or 2 Yuan realms, opening them only after lengthy intervals. For example, the 4 dominant forces and the 9-star powers in the Pan-star field controlled several Yuan realms across various galaxies, enabling the birth of so many peerless heavenly prides. Otherwise, even with abundant resources in the Hengpan galaxy, it would be impossible to nurture so many heavenly prides in such a short period. Medium-level Yuan realms were far superior to low-level ones in both the quality and quantity of chaos primordial chi but were much rarer. Using a medium-level Yuan realm, there was a chance to break through the 20th physical limit, but the probability was not high. This was only under the condition that a heavenly pride who had broken through the 19th limit cultivated alone. If multiple heavenly prides entered together, the chance to break through the 20th limit vanished. High-level Yuan realms were different, capable of accommodating hundreds of heavenly prides for cultivation. As long as one reached the 4th level of heart condition, there was a chance for everyone to break through the 20th physical limit. Rumors suggested that the ultimate opportunity in the battle of heavenly prides was to cultivate in a high-level Yuan realm, jointly owned by the 4 dominant forces of the Pan-star field and offered as a reward for the battle. Unfortunately, the end date of the Battle of Heavenly Prides remained unclear. Based on records from previous battles, it would last anywhere from 20 to 100 years. And now, the battle had only been ongoing for a little over a decade. In the following period, Yi Tian did not linger in Qingzhang City but traveled across the Hengpan continent, challenging 8-star and 9-star peerless heavenly prides everywhere. In essence, Yi Tian swept through his adversaries, his destiny ranking on the Heavenly Pride Gold list climbing continuously. A year later, one day, Yi Tian's destiny finally soared to the 1st place. Across the pan-star field, atop the vast heavenly pride gold list, the name of Yi Tian, the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, shone brightly and resoundingly. At this moment, countless heavenly prides and forces across the pan-star field marveled at Yi Tian's achievement. Chapter 442.txt Chapter 443, The Order from the Supreme Hall of Humanity. TL. Etude. In the Milky Way galaxy, Empress Yu was overjoyed and immensely proud upon seeing her husband ascend to the top of the heavenly pride gold list. The other heavenly prides of the Milky Way system were all dumbfounded. Being first on the heavenly pride gold list was an extraordinary honor. In such a short span of time, Yi Tian had grown to such an extent that he had crushed countless heavenly prides throughout the entire pan-star field. Upon hearing this news, great god Qin Niu, the lord of Qingfeng Giant City, couldn't help but marvel at how wise his decision had been to align with Yi Tian early on. By enlisting Yi Tian under the banner of Qingfeng Giant City's heavenly pride and joining the heavenly pride pavilion of the Silver Universe Star, even though Yi Tian had left the Milky Way system, the achievements he brought still garnered great fame for Qingfeng Giant City. In terms of resource cultivation, Qingfeng Giant City even surpassed other giant cities, approaching the treatment of a main city. At the Yun family in the Milky Way system, Yun Chen, despite being a planetary system-level powerhouse with a strong heart condition, couldn't remain calm upon learning that Yi Tian had become the #1 on the heavenly pride gold list. Initially, although he mentioned that Yi Tian had the potential to become a child of the universe, it was more of an exaggeration. After all, in his view, many heavenly prides had the potential, but none had achieved it. Deep down, he didn't hold much hope for Yi Tian becoming a child of the universe, let alone imagine that Yi Tian could crush all the heavenly prides in the entire pan-star field, including the 9 peerless heavenly prides cultivated by the 4 dominant forces. Yi Tian's talent was truly heaven-defying. Perhaps the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws really can become a child of the universe. Then, the 4 dominants and the numerous 9-star forces of the Hengpan River system will truly be slapped in the face. Yun Chen said with a laugh. With Yi Tian becoming #1 on the heavenly pride gold list and defeating several 9-star peerless heavenly prides, no one could challenge his position. Thus, Yi Tian began to quietly cultivate, waiting for the end of the heavenly pride war. In the following years, Yi Tian paid a huge price, not only perfecting the 10-star Yuan Force defensive secret technique Dark Qilin Demon Body technique but also purchasing numerous treasures to assist in palm techniques, forcibly comprehending the palm Dao to 70% and perfecting the super god level palm technique, Zumi Palm. As for the Claw Dao, Yi Tian also improved it to 65% and purchased a super god level claw technique Shadow Claw, perfecting it to a major realm. In summary, Yi Tian maximized his improvement in all possible aspects, continuously accumulating his foundation. Even so, Yi Tian's combat power was still at the 9-star peerless heavenly pride level. As for the specific division of 9-star peerless heavenly prides, Yi Tian was unclear. In any case, he was much stronger than other 9-star peerless heavenly prides, ranking among the top of the pan-star field. But compared to 9-star peerless heavenly prides from other star fields, Yi Tian's exact level was uncertain. Additionally, over these years, several 9-star peerless heavenly prides emerged in the pan-star field, intensifying the competition among heavenly prides. Everyone wanted to squeeze into the top 100 of the heavenly pride gold list. Only the top 100 could enter the high-level Yuan realm and obtain significant opportunities. Thus, the competition for the 100th spot on the heavenly pride gold list was fierce, with news of the 100th heavenly pride being killed from time to time. A rumor then spread that the heavenly pride war was nearing its end, which made the battles even more brutal. On this day, deep in the Hengpan continent, a 1,000-man legion walked through the void, quickly arriving at the gate of the Eternal Sect. At that moment, a galaxy-level powerhouse from the Eternal Sect came out and frowned upon seeing the legion. This legion wasn't strong, merely consisting of weak soldiers led by a great god. For him, such a 1,000-man legion was nothing but ants that could be easily crushed. However, he dared not act against this legion, which came from the Undying Legion. The Undying Legion's strength was somewhat stronger than the Eternal Sect's. Why has the Undying Legion come to our Eternal Sect? The galaxy-level powerhouse inquired. The leading officer stepped forward, respectfully saying, "Greetings to Lord Ancient Dust. We are here to deliver an invitation, requesting Lord Ancient Dust to pass it to the Eternal Sect's sect master." "Whose order are you following?" Lord Ancient Dust asked. We are here by the order of the Undying Legion Lord. The officer replied. The Undying Legion Lord. Lord Ancient Dust's pupils shrank. The Undying Legion Lord was the leader of the Undying Legion. Every once in a while, when the lifespan of an Undying Legion Lord reached its limit, a new commander would be selected. The current Undying Legion Lord was the 8th in succession, and his strength had surpassed the galaxy level, achieving the realm he had always yearned for in his lifetime. Such a prominent figure had personally issued an invitation. Indeed, only the sect master of the Eternal Sect had the right to review it. Lord Ancient Dust accepted the invitation, and the Undying Legion flew towards the direction of the Divine Desolation Hall, soon disappearing from sight. Shortly thereafter, Lord Ancient Dust handed the invitation to the head of the Eternal Sect. Several days later, the leaders of the three major forces, the Eternal Sect, Divine Desolation Hall, and the Heartless Valley, all arrived at the Hengpan Mountain Range. The Hengpan Mountain Range, located in the central part of the Hengpan continent, was a vast mountain range with a strategic geographical location. The four dominant forces had divided their territories around this range, each in a different direction. This time, the Undying Legion Lord invited the other three heads of the dominant forces to discuss matters on the Hengpan continent. Otherwise, it was rare for the leaders of these powerful entities to leave their headquarters. Atop the largest divine mountain of the Hengpan Mountain Range, the Undying Legion Lord had already arrived early. The sect masters of the Eternal Sect, Divine Desolation Hall, and Heartless Valley also descended one by one, taking their places on the thrones prepared by the Undying Legion Lord. With all the heads of the four dominant forces present, a huge barrier enveloped the area, preventing their conversation from being heard by the outside world. What matter is so important that you invited us here? Asked the Divine Desolation Hall sect master, dressed in a golden robe. The Undying Legion Lord, wearing a white mask and clad in black and white attire, spoke in a hoarse voice. Actually, the reason I invited the three of you here is regarding the Battle of Heavenly Prides. Battle of Heavenly Prides? Are you joking? With our status, why should we concern ourselves with such trivial matters? Let our subordinates handle it. The Heartless Valley Master expressed his dissatisfaction. Their statuses were high. How could a mere battle of heavenly prides warrant their discussion? The Undying Legion Lord, you're making us appear over such a trivial matter. Are you jesting? Although your Undying Legion ranks first among the four dominant forces, our three forces are not to be underestimated either. The sect master of the Eternal Sect said, looking displeased. Ha ha ha, the Undying Legion Lord laughed heartily. Why so impatient, my friends? I haven't finished speaking yet. He then threw out a scroll, which floated in the air and slowly unfurled. In the next moment, golden characters flew out from the scroll, forming a message. The Supreme Hall of Humanity has decreed that every major star field must put all their efforts to cultivate a child of the universe. Star fields without a child of the universe must select 3 9-star peerless heavenly prides. The Supreme Hall of Humanity is now recruiting new members in preparation for a forthcoming grand era. The Undying Legion Lord explained. The Supreme Hall of Humanity. The sect masters of the Divine Desolation Hall, Heartless Valley, and Eternal Sect were all stunned, looking at each other in disbelief upon reading the words on the scroll. Undying Legion Lord, is this order genuine? The Divine Desolation Hall sect master asked quietly. Of course, it's real. The Undying Legion Lord replied with a cold laugh. As a former member of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, how could I dare to fabricate such a thing? If the Supreme Hall were to investigate, even I wouldn't be able to bear their punishment. Who would dare to jest with an order from the Supreme Hall of Humanity? The three nodded, finding it hard to believe that the Undying Legion Lord would take such a risk. After all, the Supreme Hall of Humanity was one of the most powerful organizations in the human race, specializing in cultivating children of the universe, heavenly prides, and talents with high cultivation potential. However, the Supreme Hall of Humanity had never actively recruited talents from the Pan-Star field, as the heavenly prides from the Pan-Star field generally had low cultivation talents and were considered negligible by the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Logically, unless a child of the universe emerged from the Pan-Star field, it wouldn't qualify to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity. But now, the Pan-Star field had been allocated 3 spots. This seemed like good news, but they were well aware that the competition within the Supreme Hall of Humanity was fierce. The heavenly prides from the Pan-Star field, entering such a place, would likely only serve as a backdrop or even as stepping stones and cannon fodder. Thus, this was not necessarily good news. But an order from the Supreme Hall of Humanity couldn't be defied. Now, the problem was, if the heavenly prides from the Pan-Star field were too weak, even lacking a child of the universe, it would be quite embarrassing. With 36 star fields in humanity, each having one or two children of the universe, the pan-star field would lose respect from humanity's upper echelons if it didn't have any. Undying Legion Lord, are you suggesting we conclude the battle of heavenly prides early? The Divine Desolation Hall Sect Master inquired. Chapter 443.txt Chapter 444. The End of the Battle of Heavenly Prides, Destiny Well emerges. TL. Etude. Indeed, I wish to conclude the Battle of Heavenly Prides ahead of time. You all saw the decree issued by the Supreme Hall of Humanity just now. In 10 more years, envoys from the Supreme Hall will be dispatched here. Therefore, we must end the Battle of Heavenly Prides soon, allowing the top 100 Heavenly Prides on the Golden List to enter the high-level Yuan realm. As for whether they can become children of the universe, it will depend on their luck. The Undying Legion Lord stated. Luck, huh? Without reaching the 4th level of heart condition, the Heavenly Prides have no hope of becoming children of the universe. None of our 3 forces have a Heavenly Pride who has achieved the 4th level of heart condition. If we end the Battle of Heavenly Prides now, the title of Child of the Universe would have nothing to do with our 3 forces. The Lord of Divine Desolation Hall said coldly. The Valley Master of Heartless Valley also spoke up. Undying Legion Lord, your Undying Legion is in possession of a soul origin artifact. It's likely that you've already nurtured a 9-star peerless Heavenly Pride who has reached the 4th level. Ending the Battle of Heavenly Prides now wouldn't affect your Undying Legion at all. Naturally, you'd be happy about it. Are you suggesting we continue to drag this out? If a child of the universe doesn't emerge from our star field, it wouldn't look good for any of us. The Undying Legion Lord retorted. The Lord of Divine Desolation Hall, the Valley Master of Heartless Valley, and the Sect Master of Eternal Sect fell silent for a moment. Indeed, their forces could choose not to conclude the Battle of Heavenly Prides, but that wouldn't benefit them much. It would only prevent the Undying Legion from producing a child of the universe before the envoys from the Supreme Hall of Humanity arrived, essentially just delaying the inevitable. Once the peerless Heavenly Pride of the Undying Legion enters the Supreme Hall of Humanity, if they have the potential to become a child of the universe, they would still achieve it. If they lack the potential, then ending the Battle of Heavenly Prides now would still not enable the Undying Legion to produce a child of the universe. With this realization, the Lord of Divine Desolation Hall, the Valley Master of Heartless Valley, and the Sect Master of Eternal Sect agreed. Undying Legion Lord, we can agree to end the Battle of Heavenly Prides, but we want to arrange for one 9-star peerless Heavenly Pride from each of our forces to cultivate with the aid of your Undying Legion's soul origin artifact for 1 month. You can rest assured, we are willing to pay a price to guarantee your satisfaction. The Lord of Divine Desolation Hall proposed. Agreed. The Undying Legion Lord consented. The Lord of Divine Desolation Hall, the Valley Master of Heartless Valley, and the Sect Master of Eternal Sect were surprised. They didn't expect the Undying Legion Lord to agree so easily. This was not his usual style. In the past, when they requested the Undying Legion Lord to spare a slot or two in the soul origin artifact, no matter what treasures they offered, the Undying Legion Lord had never agreed. But this time, he consented without hesitation. Are you curious why I agreed so readily? After all, the destiny of a star field can at most accommodate the birth of 1 or 2 children of the universe. Assisting the 9-star peerless Heavenly Prides under your command is essentially adding competitors to my own ranks. However, I have full confidence in the 9-star peerless Heavenly Pride under my command. Moreover, if we can have 1 more child of the universe, it would also benefit our star field. The Undying Legion Lord explained. Undying Legion Lord, we thank you for your generosity. The Masters of the Divine Desolation Hall, Heartless Valley, and Eternal Sect expressed their gratitude with a smile. Soon, they discussed the specifics. After the meeting concluded, the Lord of Divine Desolation Hall, the Valley Master of Heartless Valley, and the Sect Master of Eternal Sect left one by one. Once they had departed, the Undying Legion Lord murmured, "Executioner King." Whoosh! A young man enveloped in a murderous aura appeared before the Undying Legion Lord and knelt on one knee, saying, "My lord. Arrange for the conclusion of the Battle of Heavenly Prides. Additionally, if the other 3 dominant forces send their 9-star peerless Heavenly Prides, take them to comprehend the soul origin artifact for a period of 1 month, the Undying Legion Lord ordered. My lord, why let the Heavenly Prides from the other 3 major forces comprehend the soul origin artifact? Isn't that Executioner King was puzzled. You should know, I've been to the Supreme Hall of Humanity before. Everyone thinks I fared well there, but in reality, I was just a failure. Back then, although I was a child of the universe, I was among the weakest. I had no real standing in the Supreme Hall of Humanity. For the Supreme Hall, nurturing a child of the universe is not difficult. The competition among our four dominant forces is nothing more than child's play in their eyes. White Bone is talented, and he should become a child of the universe. But even among children of the universe, he wouldn't be considered strong. If our star field could have one more child of the universe, at least they could support each other in the early days in the Supreme Hall. The initial period in the Supreme Hall is the most difficult. Therefore, helping the other three dominant forces isn't a big deal. Even if they produce one more child of the universe, would it matter? The Undying Legion Lord looked at the Executioner King. The Executioner King shook his head. It wouldn't matter. According to our intelligence, the 9-star peerless heavenly prides under the other three dominant forces are all of Hong-level cultivation talent. Although they could become children of the universe and transform their talents with the power of the universe's origin, the chance of transforming Hong-level cultivation talent into cosmic level is not even 1%. A child of the universe with cosmic level cultivation talent would, at best, achieve a galaxy level in the end. A mere galaxy level can't affect the grand scheme of things. Exactly, this generation's 9-star peerless heavenly prides lack those monstrous beings. Moreover, even if one of the other three dominant forces had a 9-star peerless heavenly pride with cosmic level cultivation talent, the chance of using the universe's origin to elevate cosmic level to universal level is less than 10%. Unless it's a 9-star peerless heavenly pride with universal level cultivation talent, they wouldn't be of concern to me. Universal level cultivation talent is extremely rare, far rarer than a child of the universe. Executioner King shook his head, doubting that any of the three dominant forces would possess such a heavenly pride. What Executioner King didn't know was that the Supreme Hall of Humanity had given him a target, to nurture a child of the universe. Although the Undying Legion Lord had left the Supreme Hall of Humanity, he still held a position there, unknown to the outside world. Therefore, the Undying Legion Lord was keen on nurturing another child of the universe. In the eyes of the Undying Legion Lord, the development of humanity was of utmost importance, followed by the Undying Legion itself. In the past, whenever God-level powerhouses in the star field killed heavenly prides, it was always the Undying Legion that the higher echelons of humanity ordered to act. It could be said that the Undying Legion was like a sharp blade for the higher echelons of humanity within the star field, eliminating certain threats. As for other conflicts, the Undying Legion didn't care. It was for this reason that the Undying Legion had become incredibly mysterious. However, the other three dominant forces had no idea that the Undying Legion had always been supported by the Supreme Hall of Humanity. They thought the Undying Legion was just a simple dominant force within the star field. Of course, this secret was unknown to most of the Undying Legion, only vaguely known by the most core members. 10 days later, the four dominant forces of the star field announced that the Battle of Heavenly Prides would end in 1 month. This news shocked countless forces in the star field. All forces were curious why this Battle of Heavenly Prides was ending so quickly. Many 9-star forces approached the four dominant forces, but to no avail. In Qingzhang city of Hengpan continent, the Battle of Heavenly Prides is going to end. Yi Tian was also quite surprised but then felt joy. The quick conclusion of the Battle of Heavenly Prides was good news for him. His current strength had truly reached a bottleneck and was difficult to improve further. Only by advancing to the Child of the Universe realm could he continue to enhance his strength. Thus, he was most eager for the end of the Battle of Heavenly Prides. For the Heavenly Prides in the forefront of the Golden List, this month was very calm. They had no need to risk their lives in combat just to climb a few ranks. What if they were to fall? However, for those ranked around the 100th or in the 80 to 90 range, this month was challenging. The entire star field turned into a battlefield of Heavenly Pride slaughter. Because of this, many Heavenly Prides hid in their forces' headquarters, fearing being killed by some destiny-seeking Heavenly Pride if they ventured outside. Amidst the slaughter and fear, a month passed. On this day, a massive Heavenly Pride golden list flew from the depths of the void, covering a swath of the starry sky. The next moment, the names of the top 100 on the Heavenly Pride golden list began to flicker, and countless Heavenly Prides' gazes seemed to transcend time and space to see this golden list. And the name of the top-ranked Heavenly Pride was the Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws, the largest and most radiant name. The next moment, the Heavenly Pride golden list shattered, turning into countless pieces that flew towards the numerous Heavenly Prides in the star field. The largest piece landed on Yi Tian. At this moment, the fortune on his body began to transform from illusory to tangible. Suddenly, A well appeared above his head. A destiny well. Yi Tian recognized this object. He had inherited the memories of a galaxy-level powerhouse and naturally recognized it. The Destiny Well was the condensation of destiny, only emerging after the end of the Battle of Heavenly Prides with the help of the Heavenly Treasure, the Heavenly Pride Golden List. The effect of the Destiny Well lasted only about a decade and was only effective within the star field. It could enhance cultivation speed and comprehension. For every foot, the Destiny Well could double comprehension and cultivation speed, a 2-foot Destiny Well could triple them, and so on. The larger the Destiny Well, the higher the increase in comprehension and cultivation speed. I wonder how big my Destiny Well is. Yi Tian looked forward to it. Chapter 444.txt Chapter 445. Obtaining the last cosmic level cultivation talent. TL. Etude. At the top of Yi Tian's head, the Destiny Well initially appeared faint and merely a foot in diameter. As time passed, the Destiny Well grew larger and more solid. 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. Half an hour later, Yi Tian's destiny pool had expanded to 9 feet in diameter and had solidified as if it were a tangible object. A 9-foot Destiny Well means I can enhance my comprehension and cultivation speed by 9 times. Yi Tian was very satisfied with this result. This enhancement in comprehension and cultivation speed could be stacked with talents and a secret technique of physical body cultivation. One could imagine the degree to which Yi Tian's cultivation speed and comprehension could be enhanced with the boost from a 9-foot Destiny Well. More importantly, the Destiny Well greatly aided in breaking through the 20th physical limit. This was why the 4 dominant powers of the Pan-Star Field opened the Battle of Heavenly Prides. Without such benefits, the Battle of Heavenly Prides would lose its significance. After all, the ultimate goal of the Battle of Heavenly Prides was to nurture a child of the universe, not just to improve the cultivation speed of the Heavenly Prides. In the Hengpan continent, the Undying Giant City. This city, under the command of the Undying Legion, far surpassed cities like the Qingzhang city in scale. One day, the 4 dominant powers of the Pan-Star Field announced that the top 100 Heavenly Prides on the Heavenly Pride Gold List should head to the Undying Giant City in the Hengpan continent within 10 days. The great opportunities awarded after the Battle of Heavenly Prides would be bestowed upon these 100 Heavenly Prides in the Undying Giant City. Thus, the top 100 Heavenly Prides on the Pan-Star Field's Heavenly Pride Gold List gradually made their way to the Undying Giant City. Yi Tian also arrived at the Undying Giant City at the earliest opportunity. Upon arriving at the Undying Giant City, Yi Tian immediately sensed the city's strength. On the streets, one could constantly see troops of the Undying Legion patrolling back and forth. Most of these Undying Legion troops were God level or above, and some were even led by great God level leaders. Surrounding the Undying Giant City were floating divine artifact fortresses, each stationed with a large number of troops. The defense of the Undying Giant City definitely surpasses other cities. There might even be several galaxy-level powerhouses here. Yi Tian thought to himself. He wanted to replicate the cosmic-level cultivation talents of galaxy-level powerhouses, but his talent replication was heavily suppressed in the Hengpan continent. Furthermore, the cultivation sites of galaxy-level powerhouses would surely be protected by many law formations, making it impossible for his talent replication to cover them. Thus, Yi Tian could only try his luck. If he was fortunate enough to encounter a galaxy-level powerhouse or a martial warrior with a cosmic-level cultivation talent, it would be a huge gain. However, cosmic-level cultivation talents were exceedingly rare, and after several days, Yi Tian still hadn't encountered one. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. The top 100 Heavenly Prides had all arrived at the Undying Giant City, waiting for the notification from the 4 dominant powers. Suddenly, a voice reached the ears of the top 100 Heavenly Prides. All top 100 Heavenly Prides, come to the plaza in front of the Undying Divine Temple. The person transmitting the message was undoubtedly a powerhouse. Yi Tian and the other Heavenly Prides quickly gathered at the plaza in front of the Undying Divine Temple. There, Yi Tian saw many familiar faces. For example, the Raging Sun Heavenly Pride, Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride, True Sword Heavenly Pride, and so on. Most Heavenly Prides showed fear and resentment upon seeing Yi Tian, as most of them had been challenged and miserably defeated by him. Boom! A powerful aura enveloped the entire area. The Heavenly Prides fixed their gaze on a young man wearing a black robe who appeared before them. It's the Executioner King of the Undying Legion. Many Heavenly Prides exclaimed in surprise. The Executioner King was one of the 10 king-level commanders of the Undying Legion. The command hierarchy of the Undying Legion, from high to low, was the Legion Lord, the 3 Vice-Legion Lords, and then the 10 king-level commanders. Although the Executioner King ranked among the lower of the 10 king-level commanders, he was among the top tier of galaxy-level powerhouses, far surpassing ordinary galaxy-level powerhouses in strength. For instance, the Universal True Lord, from whom Yi Tian received memory inheritance, was far from being a match for the Executioner King. Such a significant figure taking charge of the Battle of Heavenly Pride's grand opportunity was quite unexpected. In their view, having an ordinary galaxy-level powerhouse from the 4 dominant powers take charge would have already been a considerable honor. Now, a king-level commander from the Undying Legion was directly assigned to this task, which seemed overly significant, perhaps even excessively so. I am the Executioner King of the Undying Legion. I won't waste words. You 100 have earned the top 100 spots on the Heavenly Pride Gold list and have qualified to enter the high-level Yuan realm. Next, I will lead you into the high-level Yuan realm, where you can cultivate for 5 years. The Executioner King said coldly. Then, with a wave of his hand, he produced a cosmic spaceship. This was no ordinary cosmic spaceship, but a 7-star cosmic spaceship. A 7-star cosmic spaceship had the ability to traverse many galaxies within the Pan-star field. It could even be said that it could shuttle from one end of the Pan-star field to the other in just a day. Board the spaceship, the Executioner King commanded. Swiftly, one by one, the Heavenly Prides entered the Executioner King's 7-star cosmic spaceship, with Yi Tian deliberately getting close to the Executioner King as he boarded. The Executioner King didn't notice anything amiss. However, as Yi Tian approached the Executioner King, he silently replicated his cultivation talent. The last cosmic-level cultivation talent is now mine. Yi Tian was extremely excited. He was already a possessor of a cosmic-level cultivation talent and had previously replicated the cosmic-level cultivation talent of the Black Abyss Sword Monarch. Now, he had replicated the Executioner King's cosmic-level cultivation talent. By integrating the Executioner King's cosmic-level cultivation talent, he could enhance his own cultivation talent, elevating his cosmic-level cultivation talent to a universal level. What does a universal level cultivation talent represent? It signified that Yi Tian could surpass the galaxy level, reaching a level above the galaxy level. Why does the Pan-star field only have 4 dominant powers? Only these 4 possess beings who have surpassed the galaxy level. For instance, some top-tier 9-star powers in the Hengpan galaxy possess strengths far surpassing ordinary 9-star powers, and at the galaxy and planetary system levels, they are not much weaker than the 4 dominant powers. These 9-star powers remain as such and have not ascended to the status of Pan-star field dominant powers precisely because they lack beings who have surpassed the galaxy level. This illustrates how rare possessors of universal level cultivation talents were. And soon, Yi Tian would become one, hence his excitement. As all the Heavenly Prides boarded the 7-star cosmic spaceship, the Executioner King also entered and activated the spaceship. Whoosh! The 7-star cosmic spaceship took off. After half a day, the 7-star cosmic spaceship finally came to a stop. It seems this high-level Yuan realm is likely at the edge of the Pan-star field, far from the Hengpan galaxy. Yi Tian guessed. Given the speed of a 7-star cosmic spaceship, having traveled for half a day, it's unlikely to still be within the Hengpan galaxy but has traversed many galaxies. Therefore, the possibility of the high-level Yuan realm being at the edge of the Pan-star field is quite high. Exit the cosmic spaceship, came the voice of the Executioner King. The doors of the 7-star cosmic spaceship opened, and one by one, the Heavenly Prides flew out. In the midst of space, 100 Heavenly Prides stood there, looking around. This was an entirely unfamiliar starry sky. Then, the Executioner King spoke. Some of you Heavenly Prides might know this place, while others might not. Let me explain. This is at the edge of the Pan-star field, near the edge of the universe, in a new galaxy called the Ancient Pond Galaxy. The high-level Yuan realm is located within the Ancient Pond Galaxy and has been occupied by our 4 dominant powers of the Pan-star field. Next, follow me there, and remember not to fly around recklessly. The 4 dominant powers have set up numerous killing, trapping, and defensive formations throughout this galaxy. The Executioner King warned. Yes, responded the many Heavenly Prides. Following the Executioner King, they flew towards a particular area. Along the way, they passed through numerous barriers and formations, each guarded by many powerful beings. Before long, they arrived at a huge star. This star was one of the main stars of this galaxy and their final destination. The high-level Yuan realm is on this Chenming star. The Executioner King led the many heavenly prides into Chenming Star and soon descended onto a sacred mountain. At that moment, many powerful beings on the sacred mountain respectfully greeted, "We pay our respects to the Executioner King." Chapter 445.txt Chapter 446 Attempting for Child of the Universe. TL. Etude. This is a joint decree from the four dominant forces to open the high-level Yuan realm. The Executioner King produced a document of rules, allowing the stationed powerhouses to review it. The stationed powerhouses were all from the four dominant forces, jointly guarding the high-level Yuan realm. Normally, it was impossible to open the high-level Yuan realm. It could only be opened by a mutual agreement among the four dominant forces. Now, the Executioner King had brought out the decree, which contained the command to open the high-level Yuan realm. Consequently, the stationed powerhouses activated the formation, removing the entrance concealment and defense formations of the high-level Yuan realm, among others. Boom! A massive vortex suddenly appeared atop the Divine Mountain, serving as the entrance to the high-level Yuan realm. "Enter," the Executioner King declared solemnly. Yes. Numerous heavenly prides nodded, and one by one, they passed through the vortex into the high-level Yuan realm. Yi Tian had entered a Yuan realm before, but it was a low-level Yuan realm that exhausted potential. Upon entering this high-level Yuan realm, he immediately felt the difference between the two realms. "The Chaos Yuan Qi here is so rich," Yi Tian marveled. The Yuan realm was filled with unimaginably rich Chaos Yuan Qi, incomparable in both quality and quantity to that of the low-level Yuan realm. Swoosh! Heavenly prides flew towards the center of the Yuan realm, where the Chaos Yuan Qi was the richest. However, Yi Tian didn't rush over but instead found a secluded corner. He planned to integrate the cosmic-level cultivation talent he had just acquired. Once integrated, his cosmic-level cultivation talent could be upgraded to a universal-level cultivation talent. The cultivation speed of a universal-level cultivation talent was much faster than that of a cosmic level 1, so naturally, Yi Tian wanted to upgrade his cultivation talent to universal level. This way, he could absorb and refine more Chaos Yuan Qi, making it easier to break through the 20th physical limit. Begin integration. Yi Tian initiated the integration ability of the copying talent, merging it with the cosmic level cultivation talent he had copied from the Executioner King. Boom! Intense pain surged through him, and Yi Tian clenched his teeth to endure it. Moreover, to avoid wasting time and arousing suspicion among the other heavenly prides, Yi Tian activated his time talent. Integrating and upgrading talents would take at most half an hour. Once the time talent was activated, speeding up time by 30 times meant that the integration would be completed in just a minute. This way, others wouldn't be too suspicious. Otherwise, if any heavenly pride came here, it would be difficult for Yi Tian to explain. Soon, a minute passed in the outside world, and Yi Tian, under the accelerated time, endured half an hour of pain and finally completed the integration and upgrade process. After the integration, Yi Tian checked his cultivation talent. Cultivation talent. Universal level. Finally, it's upgraded to universal level cultivation talent. Yi Tian laughed excitedly and then used various recovery talents to eliminate his fatigue, quickly returning to his peak condition. Immediately after, Yi Tian flew towards the center of the Yuan realm. In the center of the Yuan realm, a gigantic Chaos Ancient Well sat on the ground, with unimaginable Chaos Yuan Qi gushing out from it. Heavenly prides were seated all around, each in a state of cultivation, with a destiny well above their heads assisting them in refining the Chaos Yuan Qi. Swoosh! Yi Tian arrived. He found an unoccupied spot a little away from the others and also began to sit cross-legged to start his cultivation. Yi Tian's 9-foot destiny well appeared, attracting many heavenly prides' attention. "A 9-foot destiny well, how enviable," said a heavenly pride with only a 3-foot destiny well. However, as Yi Tian was ranked first on the heavenly pride list, having a 9-foot was to be expected. The other heavenly prides didn't dwell on Yi Tian for too long, as time was limited, and they didn't want to waste it. However, many heavenly prides unaware of the hidden condition to become a child of the universe, even if they absorbed a vast amount of Chaos Yuan Qi, couldn't become a child of the universe. Still, they could improve their strength somewhat. Breaking through the 19th physical limit and reaching the 20th seemed like only a step away but was actually a vast distance apart. Continuously absorbing Chaos Yuan Qi indeed strengthened the physical body, marking a form of progress. After the 9-foot destiny well emerged, Yi Tian activated the unnamed secret technique of physical body cultivation, but he did not activate the time talent. After all, once the time talent was activated, he estimated that he would quickly break through the 20th physical limit, which was unnecessary. Moreover, once the time talent was activated, the speed at which he absorbed chaos yuan qi would be too fast. Other heavenly prides would guess the time talent just by seeing the flow of chaos yuan qi. After all, the heavenly prides here were not like the inexperienced martial warriors on Earth. He could use the time talent in the yuan realm on Earth, but he dared not use it in front of so many heavenly prides, as it would be easily discovered. The time talent was Yi Tian's trump card, second only to the copying talent, and he naturally did not want to reveal it so soon. Boom! Countless chaos yuan qi surged into Yi Tian's body, being absorbed and refined by him. In terms of the speed of absorbing and refining chaos yuan qi, Yi Tian was undoubtedly the first among the many heavenly prides. Every moment, Yi Tian's physical body was rapidly improving. The strength of his physical body, which was originally difficult to enhance further, seemed to have broken some invisible shackles. The chaos yuan qi of the high-level yuan realm is indeed powerful. At this rate, I might be able to completely break through the 20th physical limit in less than 3 years. Yi Tian judged. 1 year, 2 years, in the blink of an eye, 2.5 years had passed. At this time, Yi Tian's aura had become much stronger than before, reaching a critical point. At this moment, Yi Tian knew he was at the critical point between the 19th and 20th physical limits. One more step forward would break through the 20th physical limit. As he was about to attempt breaking through the 20th physical limit, a sudden sense of panic and heaviness surged in his heart, but under the 4th level of his heart condition, he forcibly suppressed it. At this time, Yi Tian finally understood the importance of the heart condition. Without the 4th level of heart condition, it was impossible to attempt breaking through the 20th physical limit. Forcibly attempting would undoubtedly lead to failure, madness, and physical collapse. Breakthrough. Yi Tian's consciousness seemed to transform into a golden light, charging towards the heavens in the unknown. With a thunderous boom, the unbreakable shackles were cracked open under Yi Tian's full effort. That was the crack of the bottleneck of the 20th physical limit. Crack after crack appeared as Yi Tian's body crazily absorbed chaos yuan qi, continuously striking against the physical shackles. This scene naturally attracted the attention of many heavenly prides. From a distance, the true sword heavenly pride glanced at Yi Tian, seeing that he had reached the critical point of the 20th physical limit and was attempting to break through. He couldn't help but sneer, "Your cultivation speed is indeed fast, reaching the bottleneck of the 20th physical limit. Unfortunately, you have no way of breaking through the 20th physical limit without the 4th level of heart condition. Forcibly attempting is equivalent to suicide. HMPH, this time, you will either die or be gravely injured." Elsewhere, Raging Sun Heavenly Pride and the Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride were also watching Yi Tian with confusion. They had once told Yi Tian about the hidden condition for striving for the title of Child of the Universe, but why was Yi Tian still attempting it? In their view, without the mental cultivation method, Yi Tian couldn't improve his heart condition. Even if he obtained a mental cultivation method, elevating his heart condition to the 4th level would be extremely difficult. With the strong support from the Divine Desolation Hall and the Eternal Sect, plus the opportunity to comprehend the Soul Origin artifact for a month, they still couldn't elevate their heart condition to the 4th level. If they couldn't do it, naturally, Yi Tian couldn't elevate his heart condition to the 4th level either. So, why was he still attempting to become the child of the universe? The heavenly pride of 10,000 laws is too reckless. Is he being stubborn? Continuing like this will lead to death. The Raging Sun Heavenly Pride and the Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride thought to themselves. However, they did not intervene. After all, they weren't friends with Yi Tian, so there was no need to stop him. It can be said that the heavenly prides who truly understood the secret of breaking through to become a child of the universe were not optimistic about Yi Tian. Only those naive heavenly prides envied Yi Tian, thinking he might become the child of the universe. But these naive heavenly prides guessed right, and those self-righteous heavenly prides would soon be fiercely slapped in the face. Crack, crack, crack. The shackles in the unknown were gradually cracked open by Yi Tian, and after repeated strikes, they were about to shatter. At a certain moment, break. The void erupted with an explosive sound, and Yi Tian's body suddenly transformed into countless rays of light at that moment. Countless chaos yuan qi poured into Yi Tian's body, transforming it. A supreme aura burst forth from Yi Tian's body. At that moment, Yi Tian became the focal point of the entire yuan realm. No one cared about cultivation anymore, they all turned their attention to Yi Tian. equals 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 chapter 446.txt equals 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 chapter 447 Two Children of the Universe, The Shattering of Destiny. Well, TL Etude, how is this possible? True Sword Heavenly Pride was stunned. He could tell that Yi Tian's current state was not that of a failed breakthrough. If it were a failed breakthrough, Yi Tian's aura would have drastically decreased, or even his physical body would have collapsed. But now, Yi Tian's aura was soaring continuously, which didn't seem like a failed attempt at all, but rather a successful breakthrough. True Sword Heavenly Pride's pupils constricted in disbelief. He was well aware of the hidden conditions for becoming a child of the universe, which required one to elevate their heart condition to the 4th level. Even he had no hope of raising his heart condition to that level. His reason for coming to the high-level Yuan realm was merely to further temper his physical body, making it stronger and enhancing his foundation, which would be beneficial for the future. As for becoming a child of the universe, he had no intention at the moment since he hadn't elevated his heart condition to the 4th level. Therefore, he couldn't utilize the high-level Yuan realm to break through the shackles and become a child of the universe. He also didn't expect the Heavenly Pride battle to end so quickly. If it had been delayed by a few decades or even a century, he might have had a chance to encounter other opportunities to elevate his heart condition. Heavenly Pride of 10,000 laws doesn't have the backing of a dominant power, not even the support of a 9-star force. How could he possibly elevate his heart condition to the 4th level? True Sword Heavenly Pride couldn't believe it, and neither could the other Heavenly Prides. Sun Heavenly Pride and Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride exchanged glances, speculating the reason. Clearly aware of the conditions for striking towards becoming a child of the universe, Yi Tian still proceeded with the attempt. Initially, they thought Yi Tian was reckless, but now they understood the reason his heart condition had already reached the 4th level. Unexpectedly, Heavenly Pride of 10,000 laws has become a child of the universe. Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride and Sun Heavenly Pride sighed deeply. Before this, the 4 dominant forces didn't consider Yi Tian capable of becoming a child of the universe, not treating him as a competitor at all. But now, they were harshly proven wrong. Currently, many Heavenly Prides couldn't believe Yi Tian had become a child of the universe, but the fact was, Yi Tian had indeed broken through the 20th physical limit. At this moment, his physical body was undergoing a transformation. Meanwhile, in the outside world, the Executioner King, who was meditating with closed eyes, suddenly opened them. Boom! The origin of the universe descended, enveloping this part of the void. No, to be precise, it enveloped the high-level Yuan realm. The origin of the universe descends, at such a scale, could it be? The Executioner King thought of a possibility a Heavenly Pride had become a child of the universe, drawing the descent of the universe's origin. Is it White Bone? The Executioner King thought of the White Bone Heavenly Pride from the Undying Legion. He knew White Bone Heavenly Pride had elevated his heart condition to the 4th level, qualifying him to strike towards the child of the universe level, with a very high possibility. In the high-level Yuan realm, Yi Tian, feeling the transformation of his physical body, suddenly sensed the presence of the universe's origin. At this moment, the power of the universe's origin was pouring into his soul. The universe's origin can change one's talent. It's rumored that the moment some Heavenly Prides become children of the universe, their cultivation talents can break through limits and elevate by one level under the transformation of the universe's origin. However, my cultivation talent has already reached the universal level, and even with the help of the universe's origin, I can't elevate to the next level. With this thought, Yi Tian dismissed the idea of elevating his talent. His most desired improvements were in the talents of time, space, and copying. But according to his calculations, elevating the talents of time and space might not yield significant improvement, as both were supreme talents with immense difficulty and enhancement. I can't elevate the talents of time and space. In the future, if I encounter wielders of space or time talents, I can copy their time and space talents, merge them, and use them to elevate my own time and space talents. Hence, elevating the talents of time and space would be somewhat disadvantageous. But the copy talent, for so long, I have never encountered any treasure that could elevate the copy talent. Perhaps the universe's origin could transform my copy talent, allowing it to undergo another metamorphosis. Yi Tian decided to elevate his copy talent. Boom! Yi Tian activated the mark of his copy talent, beginning to absorb the energy pouring in from the universe's origin, transforming his copy talent. As soon as he absorbed the energy from the universe's origin, Yi Tian felt his copy talent slowly begin to metamorphose. The special energy bestowed by the universe indeed had the potential to elevate the level of the copy talent. 10 minutes passed. Yi Tian's copy talent finally completed its transformation. At that time, the gift from the universe had not yet completely finished, continuing to merge into Yi Tian's soul. Yi Tian's soul strength improved somewhat, and slowly, his time talent mark absorbed it. Unfortunately, the time talent only elevated to 30% pseudo-mystic level before the energy gifted by the universe was completely depleted. Even so, Yi Tian was very satisfied. Furthermore, Yi Tian's body had completed its transformation, achieving the most perfect foundation. At this moment, he became a true child of the universe. If Yi Tian wished, he could now ascend to the god level, becoming a god-level powerhouse with a single thought, with his body, yuan force, and soul all transforming into a divine body, divine power, and divine soul in a short period of time without needing gradual transformation. This was one of the benefits of being a child of the universe. But Yi Tian didn't do so. He wasn't sure if he needed to continue advancing after becoming a child of the universe, but he felt it was best not to immediately ascend to the god level, otherwise, he might regret missing something. Cent. Not copyright. After all, he wasn't in a rush to break through to the god level at the moment. Yi Tian tested his strength and felt that his physical power had increased more than tenfold, and it seemed as if the heavens and earth no longer suppressed him. It could be said that his strength had increased manifold. As a child of the universe, my combat power seems to have broken the limit of a 9-star peerless heavenly pride. I am not sure how to categorize it, but if I wanted to kill a 9-star peerless heavenly pride, even the previous me, I could do it in an instant. Heavenly pride of 10,000 laws has become a child of the universe. I need to speed up as well. White Bone Heavenly Pride thought to himself not far away. He was not anxious and continued to cultivate. He felt he was also approaching the threshold of the 20th physical limit, and once reached, he could attempt to break through the 20th physical limit. Once successful, he too would become a child of the universe. In the following days, Yi Tian continued to absorb Chaos Yuan Qi to stabilize his foundation, but eventually, he found that Chaos Yuan Qi wasn't as effective for him anymore. Clearly, after becoming a child of the universe, the high-level Yuan realm was of no use to him anymore. But he could still cultivate in the high-level Yuan realm for over 2 years, so Yi Tian began to comprehend other aspects, such as the realms of saber and palm. Yi Tian astonishingly discovered that after becoming a child of the universe, his comprehension ability had increased many times over, and if combined with top-tier comprehension talent, his comprehension would be even more incredible. However, even so, it would take quite some time for him to elevate his 75% saber realm to 76%. A mere 2 years or so probably wouldn't allow Yi Tian to continue enhancing his strength, but at least he could make some minor improvements. In the blink of an eye, another year and more passed. On this day, a powerful aura burst forth from White Bone Heavenly Pride. He was attempting to reach the child of the universe realm. Not long after, White Bone Heavenly Pride broke through the shackles with a thunderous boom, his body emitting infinite light, drawing the descent of the universe's origin. Then, White Bone Heavenly Pride's body began to transform, forging the most perfect foundation under the aid of the universe's origin. Outside the high-level Yuan realm, the descent of the universe's origin once again surprised the Executioner King. The second child of the universe, this was beyond the Legion Lord's expectations. The Legion Lord previously calculated that at most, only one child of the universe could be born this time, as the heavenly prides from the other 3 dominant forces didn't make much progress even with the aid of soul origin artifacts. It was estimated that no heavenly pride could elevate their heart condition to the 4th level, so it was impossible for another child of the universe to be born. Could it be that someone in the high-level Yuan realm fortuitously broke through to the 4th level of their heart condition? The Executioner King couldn't understand, unable to guess who the second child of the universe was. If the Executioner King knew he was wrong in his guess, that the first child of the universe was not White Bone Heavenly Pride but Heavenly Pride of 10,000 laws, he would probably be extremely shocked. Not much later, White Bone Heavenly Pride's body was completely transformed, his soul strength significantly enhanced, and he fully stepped into the ranks of the children of the universe. The universe's origin departed. Suddenly, crack, crack, crack. The destiny wells above the heads of numerous heavenly prides shattered, even the destiny wells above the heads of Yi Tian and White Bone Heavenly Pride, the 2 children of the universe, began to crack. This was because the birth of 2 children of the universe had exhausted most of the destiny, making it impossible for the star field to produce another child of the universe in the short term, hence even the destiny wells couldn't be preserved. It's over, there's no hope left. Seeing the shattering of the destiny wells, all the heavenly prides despaired. Chapter 447.txt Chapter 448, Prince. TL. Etude. The destiny well shattered, and even with the fourth level of heart condition now within their grasp, it seemed highly unlikely for them to break through the 20th physical limit. Consequently, the 9-star peerless heavenly prides completely lost their confidence. However, most peerless heavenly prides were indifferent. Most of them never really expected to become a child of the universe. Some were merely top-tier 8-star peerless heavenly prides, entering the high-level Yuan realm solely to challenge for the 9-star rank, without much hope for the title of Child of the Universe. Therefore, even without the chance to become a Child of the Universe, their disappointment was fleeting, and they quickly moved on. With the destiny well broken, the cultivation speed of all the heavenly prides plummeted, but everyone quietly continued their cultivation, waiting for the 5 years to end. In the blink of an eye, 5 years passed. The 5 years are up, all heavenly prides must come out. A voice from the outside world reached them. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. One by one, the heavenly prides stood up and flew towards the outside world. Yi Tian also stopped his cultivation and left the place. Soon after, 100 heavenly prides emerged from the high-level Yuan realm, one by one arriving in the outer world. At that moment, the Executioner King immediately looked towards the white bone heavenly pride, as he was a heavenly pride under the command of the Undying Legion and thus under his direct supervision, warranting his close attention. Seeing the aura of a child of the universe emanating from the white bone heavenly pride, the Executioner King felt reassured. Not bad. Sent. Not. The Executioner King praised. The Executioner King, I have disappointed the Legion Commander and the Undying Legion by not becoming the first child of the universe in the Pan-Star Field, Whitebone Heavenly Pride apologized. You're not the first child of the universe. The Executioner King exclaimed in shock. No, I am the second child of the universe. The first child of the universe is the Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws. Whitebone Heavenly Pride reported truthfully. The Heavenly Pride of 10,000 Laws, this. The Executioner King's gaze shifted towards the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, and indeed, he had become a child of the universe, with an aura seemingly much stronger than that of Whitebone Heavenly Pride. How could this be? The Executioner King was puzzled. Yi Tian had no power to rely on, so where did he get the method to cultivate his heart condition, and how did he elevate it to the 4th level? It was indeed strange, but every heavenly pride had their own secrets, and he had no intention of probing into Yi Tian's. Moreover, with Yi Tian becoming a child of the universe, his status had changed, and he would surely attract the attention of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. The Executioner King dared not act rashly, lest he incur the displeasure of the Supreme Hall. Even as a galaxy-level powerhouse, he would still face severe punishment. Let's leave this place. The Executioner King, without dwelling on why Yi Tian became a child of the universe, led the heavenly prides away from the star. Not long after, the many heavenly prides left the ancient Kai galaxy and returned to the Hengpan galaxy aboard the Executioner King's 7-star universal spacecraft. Subsequently, a message spread throughout the Pan-Star field. Yi Tian and Whitebone Heavenly Pride had become children of the universe. Such a noble title, one that might only emerge once every 10,000 years or even longer, and now, two had appeared at once. In an instant, Yi Tian and Whitebone Heavenly Pride rose to the pinnacle. Meanwhile, something happened in the Milky Way. On the Silver Universe star, within the Yan sect. The sect master of Yan sect also quickly learned of the events in the Hengpan galaxy and the news that Yi Tian had become a child of the universe. Within the Yan sect hall, the sect master of Yan sect roared, "Impossible, how could the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws become a child of the universe? For countless ages, even since the birth of our Milky Way, we have never produced a child of the universe. How could he possibly become one?" In fact, the sect master of Yan sect had feared Yi Tian becoming a child of the universe ever since he topped the list of heavenly prides. To his dismay, his fears had come to fruition. Yi Tian had indeed become a child of the universe, and that changed everything. Had Yi Tian been merely a 9-star peerless heavenly pride, as long as he wasn't a child of the universe, the sect master could have easily arranged for his demise once Yi Tian reached the god level, unless Yi Tian found a powerful backer. Otherwise, he would not fear Yi Tian. But things were different now. Yi Tian had become a child of the universe, and even if he reached the god level, he would still be a child of the universe, a status that would always accompany him. The human race's higher-ups had once decreed that unless a child of the universe committed a grave error, no power was allowed to kill a child of the universe. In the eyes of the human race's higher echelons, a small power like Yan sect was far less noble than a child of the universe. If the Yan sect were to harm a child of the universe, the higher-ups of the human race might erase Yan sect in an instant. The thing that Yan sect's sect master feared the most now was that if Yi Tian casually mentioned to the outside world, "I am not pleased with the Yan sect in the Milky Way," it might result in a planetary system-level powerhouse crossing realms to obliterate Yan sect. Fear, panic, helplessness. Various emotions appeared on the face of Yan sect's sect master, leaving him at a loss for what to do. At this time, an elder suggested, "Sect master, now that the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws has become a child of the universe, we must change our strategy. Actually, we don't have a significant feud with the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, although we once hired an assassin to kill him, it wasn't successful. As long as we apologize to the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws and make compensation, we won't incur his hatred." Apologize, compensate. Yan sect's sect master's face darkened. Doing so, wouldn't our Yan sect lose all its dignity? The elder hurriedly said, "Sect master, that's a child of the universe. Apologizing to a child of the universe isn't too much, right? Besides, preserving the Yan sect is important. If a child of the universe retaliates against our Yan sect, the consequences would be unimaginable." After much contemplation, the Yan sect's sect master sighed, "All right, then we shall apologize. The heavenly pride of 10,000 laws is in the Hengpan galaxy, but his wife is on Silver Universe Star. Send someone to apologize to the wife of the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, and I will personally go to the Hengpan galaxy to apologize to the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws. Remember, prepare generous gifts." "Yes." The elders below responded in unison. Hengpan galaxy, Qingzhang City. Yi Tian had just returned not long ago when the executioner king of the Undying Legion paid a visit. Inside the villa, Yi Tian stood in front of Executioner King, somewhat restrained, as he was in the presence of an invincible galaxy-level powerhouse. "Heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, no, you should be addressed as Prince of 10,000 laws." Executioner King said politely. Prince was the title for a child of the universe, derived from the Supreme Hall of Humanity, as all children of the universe would enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity and thus were granted the title of Prince. Over time, Prince became the exclusive title for children of the universe. Yi Tian, previously known as the heavenly pride of 10,000 laws, had naturally become the Prince of 10,000 laws. "Executioner King, may I know the reason for your visit?" Yi Tian asked curiously. "I wish to inform your highness that it's best not to attempt to reach the god level now," Executioner King advised. "Why is that?" Yi Tian was puzzled. Executioner King shook his head. "Actually, I am not sure either. This is an order from our army commander, seemingly related to the Supreme Hall of Humanity. If your highness was to reach the god level, it's likely you'd regret it. But the decision lies in your highness' hands, and our Undying Legion naturally won't interfere." "Thank you, Executioner King. I understand," Yi Tian said. He was aware of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, one of the highest authorities of the entire human race, before which the entire realm was insignificant. From the memories inherited from the Universal True Lord, Yi Tian had some understanding of the Supreme Hall of Humanity from the ancient times. Back then, the human race didn't have 36 star fields but only 7 or 8. The Supreme Hall of Humanity was established by some of the most powerful beings of the human race. Those who could enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity were undoubtedly the true elites of the human race, and a child of the universe had the opportunity to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity, receive cultivation, and leave after being capable of taking on great responsibilities. In Yi Tian's understanding, the Supreme Hall of Humanity was similar to an academy, specializing in cultivating elites. It didn't vie for power or profit, but its authority couldn't be ignored either. After a conversation, Executioner King departed. From Executioner King's words, Yi Tian knew that an envoy from the Supreme Hall of Humanity would come, and he was likely to be invited to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Undoubtedly, Yi Tian was quite interested in the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Moreover, it was rumored that the powerhouses who emerged from the Supreme Hall of Humanity each ruled over a territory, becoming one of the overlords. If Yi Tian wanted to grow quickly, merely cultivating on his own wouldn't suffice. For instance, this time, if he hadn't been lucky enough to enter the Saber Realm fragment world of the Saber God sect and receive the inheritance of the Saber God sect, he definitely wouldn't have become a child of the universe. He didn't want to rely on luck, so entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity was a must for him. As for the exposure of his talent, he wasn't afraid. After all, a universal-level cultivation talent was enough to make him a powerhouse above the galaxy level. By then, even if his copy talent was exposed, he wouldn't be afraid. Chapter 448.txt Chapter 449, Wife Becomes a God. TL. Etude. In the days that followed, Yi Tian prepared to cultivate in peace. Then, one day, an unexpected guest arrived. You are the sect master of the Yan sect. Although it was the first time Yi Tian had seen this great god-level individual, he guessed the person's identity from his name. The sect master of the Yan sect, Li Juexin. Yi Tian had grievances with the Yan sect, so he had naturally inquired about it and recognized the sect master at first glance. He was somewhat puzzled as to why the sect master of the Yan sect would appear here. This place was the Hengpan galaxy, while the sect master was a god-level figure from the Milky Way. He didn't think the sect master of the Yan sect came to trouble him. A mere great god-level figure wouldn't dare to trouble a child of the universe unless he was tired of living. Prince of 10,000 Laws, I have come to apologize. The words of the sect master of the Yan sect were shocking. Apologize for what? Yi Tian feigned ignorance. The sect master of the Yan sect said awkwardly, I previously hired Netherkill Heavenly Pride to assassinate you, which was my mistake. On behalf of the Yan sect, I apologize to you. Please, Prince of 10,000 Laws, let bygones be bygones. This is a small token of my sincerity. The sect master of the Yan sect took out a spatial ring and handed it to Yi Tian. Yi Tian took the spatial ring and scanned it with his divine sense, seeing the contents inside. So many divine crystals. Yi Tian initially judged that there were at least 1 million divine crystals inside the spatial ring, which was a huge sum even for a god-level individual. It could be said that the Yan sect had made a significant sacrifice this time. Let's forget about the past. I hope such things won't happen again. Yi Tian said coldly. Thank you, Prince of 10,000 Laws. The sect master of the Yan sect quickly thanked him. At this moment, although he was in pain, he also breathed a sigh of relief. He feared that Yi Tian would not accept the apology and would vow to fight the Yan sect to the death, which would be real trouble. Fortunately, Yi Tian had let bygones be bygones. Then, the sect master of the Yan sect left. This incident with the sect master of the Yan sect showed the importance of status. As a child of the universe, Yi Tian's status had skyrocketed to an extremely high level, making even the great god-level sect master of the Yan sect personally cross many galaxies to apologize to him. If he were merely a heavenly pride, he would not have received such treatment. It was imaginable that once he truly entered the Supreme Hall of Humanity, his status would become even higher. If he could gain some position in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, perhaps even galaxy-level powers would respect him immensely. One day, Yi Tian purchased many treasures on the Hengpan continent and then returned to the Milky Way aboard his 6-star cosmic spaceship. He planned to spend some time with his wife, as he estimated he would enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity in a few years, and it might be a long time before he could return. 2 months later, Yi Tian returned to the Milky Way and entered the Silver Universe star. Qingfeng Giant City. Yi Tian returned to his original residence. Empress Yu sensed someone entering and immediately ended her seclusion. My husband. Empress Yu embraced Yi Tian excitedly. I am back. Yi Tian also missed Empress Yu deeply and held her tightly. After a long time, Yi Tian released Empress Yu and shared his experiences during this period. Empress Yu had become a heavenly pride through her efforts over this period. Although her cultivation speed was not fast, it was quite good compared to other heavenly prides. Yi Tian also shared some of his experiences, from entering the Hengpan galaxy to becoming a child of the universe, recounting every detail. These resources are from the Hengpan galaxy and are very helpful for breaking through the body's limits. They should be enough to help you break through the 18th body limit. Yi Tian said, taking out a bunch of treasures. Thank you, my husband. Empress Yu accepted the treasures, showing a happy smile. My mysterious technique has been upgraded, and I can now enhance several of your talents at once. Yi Tian suddenly said. Naturally, he was referring to the ability to copy and bestow talents, which had undergone significant changes this time. The transformation of his talent copying ability was substantial, not only increasing the normal coverage area to 1,000,000 miles but also removing the limitations on the number of copies and the disappearance time. Moreover, the ability to bestow talents was no longer limited to once a year but could be done 3 times a year. In addition to this, the talent copying ability gained a new feature: concealment of talents. As long as Yi Tian wished, he could conceal his other talents and only display the ones he wanted to show, even hiding the talent copying ability itself. With this, even if others possessed treasures or means to detect all talents, they wouldn't be able to discern Yi Tian's talents. This was of great help to Yi Tian, especially since he wouldn't have to worry about his other talents being exposed when he later entered the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Otherwise, in a place like the Supreme Hall of Humanity, it would be quite easy for all his talents to be revealed. Really? Empress Yu's eyes widened in excitement. Yes, but I need some preparation. It'll enhance your talents after a while. The preparation Yi Tian spoke of naturally involved finding some targets. After all, the bestowal and deprivation of talents didn't come from nowhere. He couldn't bestow his own talents to Empress Yu, so he had to deprive others of their talents to bestow upon her. Of course, Yi Tian wouldn't just deprive anyone of their talents, he only chose those heavenly prides with a bad reputation. Thus, in the following period, Yi Tian went around looking for heavenly prides with bad reputations and many misdeeds, personally annihilating them. With his status as a child of the universe, the forces behind those heavenly prides could only swallow their grievances, daring not to retaliate or even utter a word of objection. Yi Tian's targets were not limited to the Milky Way but covered several surrounding galaxies. Through such searching, Yi Tian finally deprived a Hong-level cultivation talent, a Supreme-level sword talent, and a God-level water screen talent for Empress Yu. Afterward, he allowed Empress Yu to integrate these three talents. As a result, Empress Yu's cultivation talent became Hong-level, her sword talent reached the Supreme level, and the God-level water screen talent also proved to be of great use. Yi Tian personally taught Empress Yu the water-sinking realm divine ability and, after paying some price, went to the Hengpan galaxy to trade for the materials needed for cultivating the water-sinking realm divine ability. He brought them back for Empress Yu and assisted her in cultivating it. With Yi Tian's relentless support, Empress Yu's combat power soared rapidly. One day, Empress Yu stepped into the realm of a 6-star peerless heavenly pride, truly standing among the top heavenly prides of the Milky Way. 2 years later, Empress Yu broke through the 18th body limit, comprehended a super god-level sword technique to the major realm, and entered the beginner level of the water-sinking realm divine ability, her power stepping into the 7-star peerless heavenly pride realm. And in those 2 years, Yi Tian also helped his sister Yi Yu enhance her talents, elevating her cultivation talent to the desolate level and granting her 2 god-level talents, making her combat power many times stronger than before. You are now a 7-star peerless heavenly pride. Advancing further will require opportunities, and it might be difficult to continue improving. As for your talents, I can continue to enhance them in the future. There's no need to linger at the heavenly pride level, I suggest you aim for the god level. Yi Tian proposed. Alright, I'll aim for the god level right now. Empress Yu nodded. In fact, she also wanted to advance to the god level as soon as possible. She didn't have Yi Tian's ambition to become a child of the universe, becoming a 7-star peerless heavenly pride was already more than satisfying for her. Thus, Empress Yu began her pursuit of the god level. She possessed the Divine Body Transformation Secret Technique, Divine Power Transformation Secret Technique, and Divine Soul Transformation Secret Technique. Coupled with the time talent acceleration of the Misty Fish, she completed the condensation of the Divine Body, Divine Power, and Divine Soul in just half a year, transforming into a god-level powerhouse. One day, Yi Tian prepared to leave the Milky Way to return to the Hengpan galaxy, and this time, he estimated it would be a long while before he could return. Before leaving, Yi Tian discussed the situation with Empress Yu. Although Empress Yu was very reluctant, she still supported Yi Tian's decision, she didn't want to hinder his growth. Besides, she had now become a god-level powerhouse with a lifespan of 10,000 years. And as her cultivation improved, her lifespan would extend even further, so she didn't mind this short separation. Yi Tian spent some quality time with Empress Yu before boarding his cosmic spaceship and leaving the Milky Way. 2 months later, Yi Tian returned to Qingzhang City in the Hengpan galaxy. Upon his return, Yi Tian devoted himself to cultivation, comprehending the Saber Tao. Since becoming a child of the universe, Yi Tian's aptitude had transformed dramatically. He made significant progress in the Saber Tao. After years of diligent cultivation, his Saber Tao realm had reached 70% completion, and in a few more years, he was sure to enter the 79% realm. Unfortunately, he couldn't find any treasures in the Hengpan galaxy that could rapidly enhance his Saber Tao realm. Even ordinary Saber Tao origin artifacts were no longer of help to Yi Tian. Perhaps after entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity, I can find a way to rapidly enhance my Saber Dao realm. Yi Tian thought to himself. Chapter 449.txt Chapter 450. The envoy arrives, Prince Qin Chen. TL. Etude. In a certain part of the Hengpan continent, in front of an ancient, gigantic stone gate, a powerful undying legion was stationed, guarding the gate day and night. This gate might seem unremarkable, resembling any ordinary door, yet it was a teleportation gate capable of transporting an individual out of the Pan star field and into other star fields. However, the cost of activating this teleportation gate was substantial, causing even god-level beings to wince. Suddenly, the gate lit up, producing massive spatial fluctuations. Someone has activated the teleportation gate, intending to come through. A planetary system-level powerhouse within the Undying Legion exclaimed in shock. Moreover, the identity of the incoming individual was bound to be extraordinary, as this stone gate wasn't something that could be activated casually. Without a certain status, one would definitely be unable to use the teleportation gate. Immediately, this planetary system-level powerhouse relayed the news of the disturbance, informing the king-level leaders of the Undying Legion. Boom! The stone gate trembled, and figures began to emerge. Planetary system-level powerhouse. Planetary system-level powerhouse. Planetary system-level powerhouse. Watching as several planetary system-level powerhouses appeared, the Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse remained unfazed. However, these planetary system-level powerhouses were all clad in identical black attire, clearly belonging to a specific force, yet they weren't the important figures. The individuals were coming through the gate one by one, not all at once. The real VIP must be coming later. Soon, 10 planetary system-level powerhouses had come through, lining up in 2 rows, facing the gate and bowing slightly, seemingly welcoming their master. Whoosh! 2 figures emerged from the gate together. One was a middle-aged man, a galaxy-level powerhouse donning golden armor, whose aura made it difficult even for the Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouses to circulate their divine power. A galaxy-level powerhouse not weaker than a king-level leader, perhaps even stronger than the king-level leaders. The Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse inwardly exclaimed in awe. Yet what surprised him most was not the galaxy-level powerhouse but the young man standing beside the galaxy-level powerhouse. This young man was merely at the great god level, but the galaxy-level powerhouse seemed to consciously step back half a step, a gesture indicating their respective statuses. Hiss! The Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse took in a sharp breath. Having a galaxy-level powerhouse as a guard indicated the extraordinary status of this great god-level individual. Suddenly, he recalled the instructions from a few king-level leaders, and a speculation formed in his mind. "Are you from the Pan-Star Field's Undying Legion?" The god-level young man spoke. Yes, the Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse nodded. At that moment, the galaxy-level powerhouse introduced, "This is Prince Qin Chen from the Supreme Hall of Humanity, on a mission here." "Greetings, Prince Qin Chen." The Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse hurriedly clasped his fists in salute. His guess was correct, the young man before him was an envoy from the Supreme Hall of Humanity. The Undying Legion Lord had already given orders, and now the envoy had indeed arrived. "I would like to meet your commander, if possible." Prince Qin Chen inquired. The commander had already decreed that the envoy could meet him upon arrival. "Please follow me," the Undying Legion's planetary system-level powerhouse stated. "Lead the way." Prince Qin Chen nodded slightly. Not long after, Prince Qin Chen met the Undying Legion Lord. "Greetings, Undying Legion Lord," Prince Qin Chen said very politely. He had also heard of the Undying Legion Lord's reputation, who was once a prince from the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Although he was the weakest among the princes, the Undying Legion Lord possessed a universal-grade cultivation talent, which allowed him to become a being surpassing the galaxy level. Therefore, he dared not show any disrespect to the Undying Legion Lord. "Prince Qin Chen is too polite. I have heard of your great name, Prince Qin Chen. In the future, you will surely surpass me with ease," the Undying Legion Lord said. If it were any ordinary prince, he wouldn't have cared much, but the princes from the Supreme Hall of Humanity were ranked, and Prince Qin Chen was undoubtedly among the top tier. Although currently only at the god level, the number of planetary system-level alien beings that had fallen to his hand was not few. Even though he was in the Pan-Star Field, he often heard of Prince Qin Chen's battle achievements. Thus, the Undying Legion Lord also did not dare to neglect this prince. Undying Legion Lord, you flatter me. I can hardly compare to you. Prince Qin Chen humbly replied. Shortly thereafter, as they conversed, the topic of the children of the universe came up. Undying Legion Lord, you must be aware of the Supreme Hall of Humanity's directive. Do you know if any children of the universe have been born in the Pan-star field? Prince Qin Chen inquired. 2 children of the universe have been born. The Undying Legion Lord truthfully responded. 2 children of the universe have been born. Prince Qin Chen was quite astonished. It was difficult for the Pan-star field, with its insufficient destiny, to give birth to a child of the universe. He had thought that at most 1 child of the universe would be born in this era of the Pan-star field. The emergence of 2 children of the universe was indeed beyond his expectations. But this was good news. The more children of the universe there were, the stronger the human race would naturally become. In the absence of intervention from the higher echelons of the human race, the children of the universe were the facade of the human race, the sharp edge in the competition against other alien races. Without the children of the universe, how could the human race achieve such scale? Therefore, the Supreme Hall of Humanity naturally hoped that more children of the universe would be born. Prince Qin Chen, the previous directive from the Supreme Hall of Humanity allocated 3 slots, hasn't it changed? The Undying Legion Lord inquired. Prince Qin Chen stated, this time, the Supreme Hall of Humanity has set a target of 10 slots for the Pan-star field. This is the new directive. The galaxy-level guard beside him took out a scroll and handed it over to the Undying Legion Lord for inspection. After examining it, the Undying Legion Lord's expression changed. Indeed, it's 10 slots. Why has the target suddenly changed, and increased by so much? The Undying Legion Lord wondered. This situation was very strange, but unfortunately, his knowledge was limited since he was not in the Supreme Hall of Humanity. It was difficult for news from the Supreme Hall of Humanity to reach here. Prince Qin Chen frowned. You should be aware of the composition of the members of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, divided into the inner hall and the outer hall. The inner hall is composed of many princes, with generation after generation of princes gathering in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, keeping the number of princes at a not low figure. The outer hall is composed of those peerless heavenly prides who have the potential to become children of the universe. But recently, in a game of wits with many alien races, the Supreme Hall of Humanity lost quite a few princes, and even more peerless heavenly prides died. Moreover, with a grand era approaching after a period, the Supreme Hall of Humanity must increase its member count to compensate for the previous losses. I see, the Undying Legion Lord suddenly realized. 10 slots. Yi Tian and the White Bone Heavenly Pride occupied 2 slots, and the remaining 8 slots must be selected from among the 9-star peerless heavenly prides. However, not all among the 9-star peerless heavenly prides aspire to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Some might have already given up on becoming children of the universe and are preparing to break through to the god level. Prince Qin Chen, I will notify the leaders of the other 3 dominant forces in the Pan-star field and discuss how to allocate these 10 slots. The Undying Legion Lord said. The matter of the slots is for you to decide, but those 2 children of the universe, we must strive to have them join the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Prince Qin Chen stated. Of course, the Undying Legion Lord nodded. A few days later, Yi Tian received an invitation from the Undying Legion, inviting him to the Undying Giant City. The invitation mentioned the Supreme Hall of Humanity, urging Yi Tian to go to the Undying Giant City. Could it be that an envoy from the Supreme Hall of Humanity has arrived? Yi Tian speculated. After putting away the invitation, Yi Tian left Qingzhang City and headed for the Undying Giant City. Before long, Yi Tian arrived at the Undying Giant City. He then made his way to the Undying Divine Temple. This place was an important stronghold of the Undying Legion, and the destination indicated in the invitation was the Undying Divine Temple. Upon presenting the invitation, a true god from the Undying Divine Temple escorted Yi Tian into one of the side halls of the temple. In this side hall, Yi Tian met a great god. Upon seeing this great god, Yi Tian instinctively used his copy talent to check the other party's talents. At that moment, he was utterly stunned. Human, Qin Chen. Cultivation talent, universal level. Strength talent, god level. Speed talent, god level. Defense talent, god level. Spear technique talent, supreme level. Life talent, god level. Radiance talent, god level. Such splendid talents. Yi Tian had to admit, this great god named Qin Chen had the best talents he had ever seen. Moreover, the other party also possessed a universal level cultivation talent, which was on the same level as Yi Tian's own cultivation talent. Universal level cultivation talent, copy. In an instant, Yi Tian copied Qin Chen's universal-level cultivation talent. If he could copy another universal-level cultivation talent in the future, he would be able to elevate his own cultivation talent above the universal level. Chapter 450.txt Chapter 451 The Sacred Realm of Humanity. TL. Etude. You must be the Prince of 10,000 Laws, Prince Qin Chen suddenly spoke. Yes, Your Highness. As Yi Tian guessed that Qin Chen's identity must be extraordinary, but he was somewhat unsure of the specifics. I hail from the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Prince Qin Chen declared his identity. You may address me as Prince Qin Chen. So, it's Prince Qin Chen. Although Yi Tian appeared calm on the surface, he was extremely shocked inside. The person before him hailed from the Supreme Hall of Humanity and referred to himself as a prince, which implied an unmistakable status. He indeed was a child of the universe, and moreover, at the level of a great god. Although he also addressed him as Your Highness, the disparity in their statuses and strengths was vast. Prince Qin Chen, may I inquire as to the reason for your seeking me out? Yi Tian asked. I am here on behalf of the Supreme Hall of Humanity to invite you to join the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Prince Qin Chen stated directly. As expected, once Yi Tian knew Prince Qin Chen's identity, he had an inkling of his purpose, and his suspicion was confirmed upon hearing his words. Prince Qin Chen, what benefits are there in joining the Supreme Hall of Humanity? Yi Tian inquired. Prince Qin Chen was momentarily stunned. Others would have eagerly accepted an invitation from the Supreme Hall of Humanity without question. Yet, Yi Tian even asked about the benefits. Amusingly, Prince Qin Chen was not angered but responded with a smile. Joining the Supreme Hall of Humanity undoubtedly comes with numerous benefits. The hall possesses many inheritances and opportunities unavailable elsewhere, and can even aid a child of the universe in rapid growth. Without joining the Supreme Hall of Humanity, no other force can offer what you need, and you might even embark on the wrong cultivation path. I once knew a child of the universe, extremely arrogant, believing his talent was so exceptional that he didn't need to join the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Years later, he was defeated by a great god at the same level who was merely a 9-star peerless heavenly pride of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. A child of the universe, unable to defeat a 9-star peerless heavenly pride great god, became a laughingstock. Prince of 10,000 Laws, although you are a child of the universe, that title only commands respect within the pan-star field. Beyond it, there are many children of the universe who are your equals. Moreover, in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, there are several children of the universe who surpass you from generation to generation. And humanity is just one of the myriad races in the universe, which is unimaginably vast. If you don't enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity and remain confined to the small pan-star field, your achievements in life will be limited. Prince Qin Chen finished, awaiting Yi Tian's response. Yi Tian spoke softly, Prince Qin Chen, I am willing to join the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Very well, that is a wise decision. Prince Qin Chen nodded. Besides you, this time, Prince Whitebone and 8 other 9-star peerless heavenly prides from the pan-star field will also enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity. 9-star peerless heavenly prides can also go to the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Yi Tian asked, somewhat surprised. They couldn't in the past, but now they can. You will understand in due course. However, they will go to the outer hall, while you, as children of the universe, will enter the inner hall, Prince Qin Chen explained. Yi Tian nodded, understanding yet not fully grasping the explanation. You will stay here for a while, and in 10 days to a half-month, I will take you all out of the pan-star field and towards the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Prince Qin Chen said. Understood. Yi Tian nodded. Subsequently, Yi Tian left, and a true god from the Undying Legion arranged accommodations for him. Thus, Yi Tian settled down in the Undying Giant City. No sooner had he settled down than Yi Tian integrated the talents he had copied from Prince Qin Chen. Time flew by, and 12 days passed in the blink of an eye. One day, Yi Tian received a notice instructing him to gather at the Undying Divine Temple. They were about to depart. Thus, Yi Tian arrived at the Undying Divine Temple, where he saw many familiar faces. Besides Prince Whitebone, there were also the Raging Sun Heavenly Pride, Crescent Moon Heavenly Pride, and True Sword Heavenly Pride, with whom Yi Tian had conflicts. These heavenly prides had all arrived, clearly having decided to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity upon learning of the opportunity, foregoing the chance to break through to the god level. They were preparing to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity to strive for the realm of a child of the universe. Of course, even if they couldn't break through to become a child of the universe, gaining access to some inheritances in the Supreme Hall of Humanity was far better than staying in the Pan-Star Field. Registered. Degree A. However, opportunities come with risks. Entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity presents a significant chance, but the competition inside is fierce, requiring one to compete with heavenly prides from myriad races. Those with insufficient strength could easily perish. But entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity was their decision. Once the decision was made, there was no turning back. 2 children of the universe and 8 9-star peerless heavenly prides stood together. Soon, Prince Chin Chen and his guards appeared. "Follow me," Prince Chin Chen said indifferently. "Yes," everyone responded. Subsequently, Prince Chin Chen led Yi Tian and the others away from the undying giant city. Before long, they arrived at a vast mountain range on the Hengpan continent. There, a gigantic teleportation stone gate stood tall. Upon arriving, Yi Tian and the others saw the stationed Undying Legion and realized this must be a crucial location. "Prince Whitebone, what is this place?" True Sword Heavenly Pride inquired through spiritual communication. Prince Whitebone, coming from the Undying Legion and being stationed here, with his status, was likely to be aware of this place's significance. He dared not inquire directly from Prince Chin Chen and thus turned to ask Prince Whitebone instead. "It's said that this teleportation stone gate can lead one out of the Pan-Star Field to other star fields," Prince Whitebone explained. Soon, everyone approached the stone gate, and the stationed Undying Legion allowed them to pass. Then, the galaxy-level powerhouse beside Prince Chin Chen took out several enormous divine crystals, the quality of which was incomparable to ordinary ones. The galaxy-level powerhouse tossed a significant amount of divine crystals into the slots around the teleportation stone gate. In no time, he had inserted an amount of divine crystals that would pain even great god-level powerhouses to part with. Boom! The teleportation stone gate began to glow and vibrate. A spatial vortex appeared in its center. Stepping through the teleportation stone gate will take you out of the Pan-Star Field and across numerous star fields directly into the sacred realm of humanity. However, the teleportation process might be somewhat uncomfortable, so bear with it, Prince Chin Chen advised. Everyone nodded in acknowledgement. Then, Prince Chin Chen's guards entered the stone gate one by one, disappearing from sight. Afterward, Yi Tian and the rest followed Prince Chin Chen into the gate. Upon entering, Yi Tian found himself in a spatial tunnel. In this tunnel, Yi Tian could traverse space at unimaginable speeds, directly passing through star fields. This speed was incomparable to flying, allowing one to move from one star field to another in no time. Using a cosmic spaceship to travel from one star field to another might take years, and even 6-star level cosmic ships might not be able to reach other star fields. After about half an hour, the teleportation ended. Whoosh! Suddenly, a flash of light appeared, and Yi Tian and the others found themselves standing in a vast palace, with a giant teleportation stone gate behind them. This is the teleportation hall of Tianlin Giant City in the sacred realm of humanity. Tianlin Giant City is a very important giant city within the sacred realm, with all teleportation stone gates from various star fields connected to this one. However, the Supreme Hall of Humanity is not located here. To enter, one must undergo strict scrutiny. Only after passing the strict scrutiny can you use the teleportation array to enter the world where the Supreme Hall of Humanity is located. So, don't overreact during the scrutiny later, Prince Chin Chen reminded. Prince Chin Chen, why must we undergo strict scrutiny? Yi Tian inquired. Prince Chin Chen gravely replied, you should be well aware that there are various talents in the universe. For instance, the simplest disguise talent can allow other races to masquerade as humans. Some talents are even more terrifying than disguise talents, completely changing one's blood, soul, and aura. If a member of another race with such talent infiltrates the Supreme Hall of Humanity, the consequences would be dire. The Supreme Hall of Humanity is a crucial place for our humanity and the foundation of our race. There can be no problems or oversights there. If the Supreme Hall of Humanity were infiltrated by another race, our humanity would have been annihilated long ago. I see. Yi Tian nodded, understanding the situation. Chapter 451.txt Chapter 452. TL. Etude. Follow me. Prince Chin Chen led the way, with Yi Tian and the others following behind him. As Prince Chin Chen emerged from the teleportation hall, many people respectfully greeted him, saying, "We've seen His Highness Chin Chen." This showed that Prince Qin Chen had a great reputation in Tianlin Giant City and even within the human sacred realm. Throughout the journey, Prince Qin Chen did not pay attention to those people, focusing only on moving forward, and with a galaxy-level powerhouse acting as a guard, others couldn't get close to him. Soon, Prince Qin Chen led Yi Tian and the others to a magnificent temple. The plaque of the temple was inscribed with 3 ancient characters, Holy Text Temple. Standing at the entrance of the Holy Text Temple, Prince Qin Chen explained, the Supreme Hall of Humanity is divided into an inner hall and an outer hall, and the Holy Text Temple is a very special institution within the outer hall. It is responsible not only for scrutiny but also for investigating various secrets. Its power is no less than some of the institutions in the inner hall. If we want to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity, we must pass the scrutiny of the Holy Text Temple, and then through the teleportation array inside the Holy Text Temple, we will be teleported to the great world where the Supreme Hall of Humanity is located. Yi Tian and the others nodded in understanding. They then entered the Holy Text Temple and were quickly led by a planetary system-level powerhouse into the Scrutiny Hall. Standing in the Scrutiny Hall, a formation enveloped the area. Then, a fluctuation came, covering everyone. "All right, you have passed the scrutiny," said the planetary system-level powerhouse of the Holy Text Temple. Passed. Yi Tian was stunned. The process was unbelievably fast, not even lasting a minute. Was such an inspection reliable enough to ensure accuracy? After leaving the scrutiny hall, Yi Tian asked, "Your Highness Prince Qin Chen, isn't this scrutiny a bit too simple?" "Simple." Prince Qin Chen smiled slightly. "When I first came here, I had the same thought as you. But in reality, the Holy Text Temple has already judged our identities from the human origin, causality, and various other aspects. There's absolutely no chance of error. This time entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity, you will live there for a long time. If you want to leave, you don't need to undergo scrutiny, but to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity, everyone must pass through scrutiny. Even those beyond the galaxy level have to, with no exceptions." Prince Qin Chen explained this to alleviate any concerns Yi Tian and the others might have had, as this was also for the safety of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Because a long time ago, an alien race infiltrated the Supreme Hall of Humanity and even rose to a high level, becoming one of the human elites. Fortunately, one of the top human beings discovered the identity of this alien race in time, thus averting a disaster. The thought of an alien race becoming one of the human elites was terrifying. To prevent such incidents from happening again, the Supreme Hall of Humanity and other institutions adopted very strict scrutiny methods to ensure that alien races could not infiltrate the core human institutions. Subsequently, Yi Tian and the others arrived at a teleportation array. Standing in the teleportation array, Yi Tian felt somewhat excited. Because he would soon enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Boom! The teleportation began. Whoosh! Yi Tian and the others were teleported into the great world where the Supreme Hall of Humanity was located, following Prince Qin Chen. A few seconds later, Yi Tian found himself in another teleportation hall, and soon after, they walked out of the teleportation hall and found themselves on a small floating continent. In the far distance, there was a breathtaking palace standing in the starry sky. Yi Tian was at a loss for words to describe the palace. It was comparable to a planetary system. At that moment, Prince Qin Chen pointed to the distant palace and said, "That is the Supreme Hall of Humanity." Around the Supreme Hall of Humanity, there are many floating continents, mostly filled with teleportation halls and surveillance institutions to prevent external enemies from entering this great world. This great world is as large as a galaxy, containing many special places. You'll find out later. Let me take you into the Supreme Hall of Humanity first, he said. Yi Tian and the others were so shocked they were almost speechless. Everything was beyond their imagination. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They quickly flew to an entrance of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. The entrance seemed unguarded, but Yi Tian and the others were well aware that probably many powerful beings were watching this place. After all, this was the headquarters of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Who would dare cause trouble here? As soon as Yi Tian entered the Supreme Hall of Humanity, suddenly, a flash of light appeared before his eyes, and a woman with phantom wings on her back appeared, resembling a fairy from the myths. "Greetings, Prince Qin Chen." The fairy-like woman greeted Prince Qin Chen and then turned to Yi Tian and the others, saying, "Prince Qin Chen, are these the 2 princes and 8 heavenly prides from the Pan-Star Field?" "Yes, Yun Sheng, my task is completed. Please process their paperwork," said Prince Qin Chen very politely. "Understood." Yun Sheng nodded gently. Prince Qin Chen turned around and said to Yi Tian and the others, "Manager Yun Sheng will take care of everything for you. If there's a chance, we'll meet again." With that, Prince Qin Chen left. Come on, kiddos, it'll take you to complete the formalities for joining the Supreme Hall of Humanity and then assign you living areas, said Yun Sheng. Yi Tian and the others quickly followed Manager Yun Sheng to a space within the Supreme Hall of Humanity, which seemed to consist of one space after another. It was unclear how vast it was. In this space, Manager Yun Sheng completed the formalities for Yi Tian and the others to join. The identity information of Yi Tian and the others was all entered into the identity system of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Then, each person received an identity token. The identity tokens for Yi Tian and Prince Whitebone were golden, representing the status of princes, while the tokens for the other 8 heavenly prides were generally silver, representing the status of Outer Hall disciples. Little ones, wait here for a moment. I will arrange a steward for each of you soon. If you have any questions in the future, you can ask your steward or have them do it for you, said Manager Yun Sheng. Steward. Yi Tian frowned slightly, not accustomed to being waited on. However, he soon realized he was mistaken. This steward was not an ordinary steward. One by one, women with phantom wings flew in front of Yi Tian and the others. Clearly, these women belonged to the same race as Manager Yun Sheng. Yi Tian was still puzzled. Weren't alien races forbidden from entering the Supreme Hall of Humanity? What was the deal with these women? They clearly weren't human. Yi Tian wanted to check the talents of these women but found he couldn't see any information. It was as if these women had no talents at all. Even Manager Yun Sheng didn't display any talents, as if there was no one there at all, just an illusion. At this moment, Manager Yun Sheng began the allocation. Zia, you will be Prince Whitebone's steward from now on. Zia, you will be the steward for Prince of 10,000 Laws. It was Zia for both in the RAWs. Soon, all 10 women were assigned. Then, the 8 heavenly prides were taken away by 8 women, as they were to enter the outer hall area, while Yi Tian and Prince Whitebone were to enter the inner hall area. Manager Yun Sheng also left, as Yi Tian and Prince Whitebone had already been assigned stewards, so she naturally left the place. Master, my name is Zia. I'll take you to the inner hall area, said Zia with a smile. Yi Tian took a closer look at Zia, who appeared to be about 18 years old, with a very cute face and faint purple phantom wings on her back. Zia, are you human? Yi Tian couldn't help but ask. Zia explained with a smile, Master, I am not human. I am a phantom spirit, born from the human imaginary world, just like how weapons can breed spirit weapons. The Supreme Hall of Humanity possesses a vast imaginary world, which contains countless data and inheritances. Princes can also fight and cultivate in this imaginary world. Initially, there were no phantom spirits in this imaginary world, but as countless powerful beings left their marks there, and over time, the imaginary world gave birth to phantom spirits. Humanity didn't erase our existence but allowed us to assist in human growth. However, we phantom spirits can only stay in the Supreme Hall of Humanity and cannot leave here, for leaving the Supreme Hall of Humanity would mean leaving the imaginary world. Phantom spirits. This was the first time Yi Tian had heard of the existence of phantom spirits. Now he finally understood why he couldn't detect any talents from these women. Because these women were phantom spirits, not real-life forms, similar to spirit weapons, which also don't possess talents. Zia, take me to the inner hall area, Yi Tian instructed. Yes, Master. Zia nodded. Chapter 452.txt. Chapter 453. The Mysterious Earth, the 4 Major Regions. TL. Etude. With a wave of her hand, Zia conjured a portal in front of her. This portal led directly to the inner hall area, functioning similarly to a spatial gate. In fact, Zia did not possess any spatial talents. However, she had limited access to the organization's high hall, allowing her to open a spatial gate directly to the inner hall area. Without the assistance of phantom spirits, the princes of the Supreme Hall of Humanity would find it difficult to navigate within the Supreme Hall of Humanity itself. Prince Whitebone and his phantom spirit had already gone to the inner hall area before Yi Tian, so Yi Tian hurriedly stepped into the portal with his own phantom spirit, Zia, to proceed to the inner hall area. Upon reaching the inner hall area, Yi Tian found himself standing on a vast expanse of land, looking around. The yuan qi here was extremely rich, with even a trace of chaotic yuan qi present. This place is truly a treasure land for cultivation. If an emperor-level cultivator were to cultivate here, they would quickly break through their physical limits time and time again. Yi Tian exclaimed in amazement. Zia, where shall we go now? Yi Tian asked his steward, Zia. Zia responded, Master, we now need to choose a place to reside. The inner hall area of the Supreme Hall of Humanity is divided into 4 regions: Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow. The region we are currently in is the Yellow region. As your steward, my permissions are closely tied to yours, Master. Since you have just joined the Supreme Hall of Humanity, you are currently considered a Yellow Prince and can only reside in the Yellow region. Therefore, I could only bring you here. The Yellow region, among Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow. Yi Tian, aware of the division within the Supreme Hall of Humanity, became very curious about the regions above Yellow, and thus inquired, Zia, how can one enter the mysterious region? Zia replied, Master, to enter the mysterious region, one must reach the God level in cultivation and also pass certain assessments. Otherwise, it's impossible to enter the mysterious region. I see. Yi Tian abandoned the idea of entering the mysterious region for the time being. He figured that he would probably have to spend quite some time in the Yellow region. After all, he had just entered the Supreme Hall of Humanity and was unfamiliar with everything here. He urgently needed to understand the situation here and learn about the upcoming cultivation. Subsequently, Yi Tian asked Zia many questions, such as the choice of residence. The Yellow region boasted many treasured lands, each with a cultivation tower built on it. Each cultivation tower could only accommodate 1 prince. Unless a prince perished or ascended to the mysterious region, no other princes could enter. There were many vacant cultivation towers in the mysterious region, and newcomers needed to choose one as their residence. However, choosing a good cultivation tower was challenging because the better the location, the more difficult the set assessments. A prince must pass the assessment to occupy a cultivation tower. It wasn't as simple as choosing any cultivation tower to enter. In the Supreme Hall of Humanity, every prince started on equal footing, without any background or connections. To receive better treatment in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, one must prove their strength and talent through their own efforts, thereby earning superior treatment. Zia, take me to the best cultivation tower. Yi Tian commanded. Master, the best cultivation tower has a very difficult assessment to pass. However, it's good for you to try. Zia, though doubting Yi Tian's ability to enter the best cultivation tower, still led him there. Soon, Yi Tian arrived at the edge of a lake. This lake was called Bai Bo Lake, and it contained an extremely rich concentration of chaotic yuan qi, making cultivation here much faster than in other places. There were 10 cultivation towers around Bai Bo Lake, 5 of which were already occupied, leaving 5 vacant. When Yi Tian arrived, he encountered Prince Whitebone, who looked dejected and was preparing to leave. Prince Whitebone, what happened to you? Yi Tian inquired. I failed. I tried to enter a cultivation tower near Bai Bo Lake, but the assessment was ridiculously hard. I failed instantly, Prince Whitebone said helplessly. What? Yi Tian was quite surprised. Although Prince Whitebone's strength was not as great as his, he was still a genuine child of the universe. It was unexpected that even Prince Whitebone failed instantly. What kind of difficulty was this assessment? Yi Tian did not ask further. After all, he would soon know, as the assessment was imminent. After Prince Whitebone left, Yi Tian approached one of the vacant cultivation towers. As he entered the tower, the assessment began. Boom! Yi Tian was transported to a space where a young man appeared. Instantly, the young man attacked. Not good. Yi Tian sensed the young man's strength. The opponent was likely not a real person but more like a phantom spirit, yet his combat power was real. Yi Tian immediately activated his spatial talents and even deployed the spatial divine form divine ability. However, the opponent's punch shattered Yi Tian's spatial divine form and sent him flying with a single blow. Yi Tian was seriously injured in an instant. Before he could retaliate, another sky-shattering punch came towards him. Yi Tian only saw a flash of light before he found himself outside the cultivation tower again. My injuries are gone. Yi Tian examined himself in astonishment. What had just happened was not an illusion. He was certain of it, as the physical exertion alone was proof enough of his experience. Clearly, some force had instantly healed his injuries and extracted him from the assessment space. This is difficult. It's entirely based on strength. It seems my current strength is insufficient to reside here. Yi Tian had thought that as a child of the universe, he no longer needed to accumulate experience. Now, he realized there was much room for improvement even at the child of the universe level. For instance, the young man, although a phantom spirit, was clearly a replica of a prince who was also a child of the universe at the emperor level. The opponent's strength far surpassed Yi Tian's, breaking through his spatial divine abilities with a single punch. Such strength was terrifying, and with 5 emperor-level children of the universe residing in the yellow region, it proved that these 5 princes were more powerful than the young man from the assessment space. These 5 princes were still in the yellow region, either because they had become gods and failed to ascend to the mysterious region, or they were still at the emperor level. Either way, it indicated their immense strength. I originally thought I was strong among the emperor-level princes of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Now it seems I am still weak. Yi Tian sighed. However, he was also full of confidence. After all, he had just entered the Supreme Hall of Humanity, whereas other princes had been here for a long time, leveraging the inheritance, resources, and opportunities of the Supreme Hall of Humanity to reach their current levels. He believed he could do the same. Xia, let's go. Yi Tian called out to Xia and continued searching for a place to reside. Half an hour later, Tongbei Mountains. This area was considered a mid-level cultivation treasure land in the yellow region of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, an excellent place for newly ascended princes. Most princes who had just arrived in the yellow region of the Supreme Hall of Humanity could only reside in the inferior cultivation towers. There was only one cultivation tower here, and it was vacant. Yi Tian put in some effort to pass the assessment and officially took possession of the place, becoming its master. Xia then transmitted the news that Yi Tian had taken over the Tongbei Mountains into the virtual world's information network. From then on, this place had an owner, and other princes' stewards would naturally not bring them here. Ordinary information exchange was also one of the Phantom Spirit's abilities. In the following days, Yi Tian slowly learned about the situation of the Supreme Hall of Humanity through Xia, focusing on the Inner Hall Yellow region. In short, Xia informed Yi Tian of everything she knew. For example, there were currently 384 princes in the yellow region, 97 of whom were at the god level, while the rest were at the emperor level. These 97 god-level princes remained here because they had failed the assessments repeatedly and could not ascend to the mysterious region. However, the Supreme Hall of Humanity had a rule that if a god-level prince could not ascend to the mysterious region within 300 years, they would leave the inner hall of the Supreme Hall of Humanity and descend to other star fields to guard a territory. Therefore, competition among the princes in the yellow region was intense. Without sufficient strength, one would eventually be expelled. Additionally, in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, there was something very important. That was points. Chapter 453.txt Chapter 454 Division of Combat Strength Among Children of the Universe. TL. Etude. The Supreme Hall of Humanity was no charity. Although it cultivated the children of the universe and the top-tier heavenly prides of the human race, it did not provide unlimited support. Beyond some basic cultivation, other opportunities required points. For instance, to access certain fortunate cultivation sites within the Supreme Hall of Humanity, points were needed. You also need them to purchase some precious inheritances. Heavenly prides entering the outer hall received no points, while children of the universe entering the inner hall were awarded 100 points. Inside the cultivation tower, Yi Tian was refining a phantom ring that Xia had just brought. This phantom ring would allow Yi Tian's consciousness to enter the phantom world of the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Soon, Yi Tian had refined the phantom ring and then activated it, allowing his consciousness to enter the phantom world. In the next moment, Yi Tian arrived at the cultivation tower in the phantom world, where Xia appeared here as well. Although Xia did not possess a phantom ring, as a phantom spirit, she could freely move between the phantom world and the real world. Master, you are now in the Yellow City, which corresponds to the yellow region of the phantom world. The cultivation towers of other princes are also here, and there are a few places worth visiting. The first is the Inheritance Pagoda, which contains various cultivation-related treasures, especially those aimed at princes. Every prince who enters the Supreme Hall of Humanity would spend some time browsing it. Next is the Battle Tower, which tests the combat strength of princes. By challenging the Battle Tower, you can earn points, which is one of the ways for princes to accumulate points. Xia explained. I understand, I'll go check out the Inheritance Pagoda first. Yi Tian said. He urgently needed to understand the situation of the children of the universe and the direction of cultivation. Although Xia knew a lot, she could not help with cultivation, so Yi Tian needed to explore this on his own. Xia led the way, and Yi Tian followed her out of his cultivation tower and into the outside. At that moment, he saw several cultivation towers and numerous special buildings within the city. There were not many people on the streets, only seeing one or two occasionally. These few people looked at Yi Tian with curious and puzzled eyes but did not come over to greet him. These must be other princes. Yi Tian speculated. After all, this place corresponded to the Yellow region, where only various princes and phantom spirits resided. These few individuals were not phantom spirits but humans, which meant they must be princes. Princes were mostly in cultivation and rarely appeared on the streets of the Phantom World city, so it was normal not to see many people. Yi Tian continued walking and soon arrived at a pagoda. Zia said, "Master, this is it. I cannot enter, only princes can." "All right, you can go back first," Yi Tian said. Zia nodded and vanished in a flash. Yi Tian then entered the inheritance pagoda and immediately saw a phantom spirit. This phantom spirit appeared as a middle-aged man, his deep eyes clearly indicating that he was a very ancient phantom spirit. "Prince of 10,000 Laws, hello. This is the inheritance pagoda of the Yellow region. I am the keeper of the inheritance pagoda Hong Ling. Since it's your highness' first visit, let me give you an introduction." The phantom spirit, Hong Ling, spoke very kindly. The inheritance pagoda has 7 floors. The first 3 floors are open for free, while the last 4 involve some precious inheritances and will charge a certain fee depending on the inheritance. Additionally, it's not allowed to experiment within the inheritance pagoda, and in severe cases, punishment may include facing the wall to reflect on one's actions. After Hong Ling finished these introductions, he left to avoid disturbing Yi Tian as he browsed the books in the inheritance pagoda. There were many books within the inheritance pagoda. Yi Tian casually flipped through a few, which recorded a vast amount of secret techniques, such as physical body cultivation secrets. There were many available for free viewing and learning. The second floor even contained numerous divine abilities inheritances, also free of charge, but only for learning and not to be taught to others. In the following days, Yi Tian stayed in the inheritance pagoda, browsing through the books. He focused on books related to the children of the universe, as this was the knowledge he lacked the most. A few days later, Yi Tian had glanced through some of the more useful books on the first 3 floors of the inheritance pagoda, gaining enough understanding of the children of the universe. Breaking through the body's limits for the 20th time as a 9-star peerless heavenly pride can transform one into a child of the universe. The title Child of the Universe is given because they are not suppressed by the universe, allowing them to unleash their full combat power almost without limit. Moreover, children of the universe can continue to enhance their physical strength, as if stepping into a new realm, unlike the divine bodies at the god level which are almost fixed. Therefore, children of the universe should enhance their physique, yuan force, and soul as much as possible, striving for perfection before attempting to reach the god level. Some powerful children of the universe can even defeat peak true gods and weaker great gods at the peak of the god level. Children of the universe in the Yellow region can be divided into ordinary, peak, eternal, and supreme children of the universe based on their combat power. The 1st to 3rd floors of the battle tower are for ordinary children of the universe, the 4th to 6th floors for peak children of the universe, the 7th to 9th floors for eternal children of the universe, and the 10th floor for supreme children of the universe. Ordinary, peak, eternal, supreme. It was the first time Yi Tian had heard such a division, and he was very eager. He longed to become a supreme child of the universe but knew it would be extremely difficult. By his estimation, his current combat power probably ranked him as an ordinary child of the universe, not even a peak child of the universe. The strength enhancement of a child of the universe, apart from improving divine abilities, martial arts, and secret techniques, primarily involves enhancing the physique, yuan force, and soul power. For a child of the universe, rapid strength enhancement comes from major divine abilities, and in terms of martial arts, it comes from supreme level techniques, not to mention various peculiar secret techniques. The inheritance pagoda also contains inheritances of major divine abilities, but they are very expensive. Yi Tian even saw the 5 elements great divine ability, which required 100 points. If purchased separately, a top-tier divine ability would cost 200 points. Of course, purchasing a divine ability also comes with the cultivation material needed, which is considered a good deal. But Yi Tian currently only had 100 points, not enough to redeem even one divine ability. What intrigued Yi Tian the most was not the divine abilities but the divine cannons that could enhance the physique, yuan force, and soul power of the children of the universe. Normally, the physique, yuan force, and soul of a child of the universe are already at an incredible level within the emperor level, almost impossible to enhance further. But divine cannons could break these shackles and allow further enhancement. It is said that divine cannons contain endless supreme truths and are one of the most important cultivation methods of the human race. To become a supreme child of the universe, one must cultivate a divine canon to the perfected realm. Divine cannons. Yi Tian longed for a divine cannon, but it was currently out of reach, as only during the Divine Cannon Festival do princes in the Yellow region who have not yet obtained a divine cannon have a chance to acquire the inheritance of a divine cannon. There was little hope for now. Exiting the inheritance pagoda, Yi Tian was now content. He finally understood the cultivation direction for a child of the universe, feeling as if he had a goal in life. He was now ready to test his combat power in the battle tower to see at which level his strength truly lay. Battle Tower. Yi Tian arrived and immediately entered. The battle tower also had a phantom spirit guardian named Hong Chen. Under Hong Chen's arrangement, Yi Tian began the combat assessment. Boom! Yi Tian was transported to the first floor of the battle tower, and the assessment was about to begin. Swoosh! 10 black-clad warriors appeared, all attacking Yi Tian. After a battle, Yi Tian easily killed these 10 black-clad warriors, passing the first floor of the battle tower. This proved that Yi Tian possessed the strength of an ordinary child of the universe. But, there were 3 tiers within the ordinary level, and further testing was needed to determine his exact tier. Subsequently, Yi Tian entered the second floor of the battle tower, again facing the attack of 10 black-clad warriors. The strength of these 10 black-clad warriors far surpassed those on the first floor. This time, Yi Tian used all his methods, except for his time-related talents, to barely kill these 10 black-clad warriors, sustaining serious injuries in the process. If not for his multiple healing talents, he probably wouldn't have been able to continue. After passing the second floor of the battle tower, Yi Tian earned a total of 300 points, 100 for the first floor and 200 for the second. It seems my combat power is at the second tier of the ordinary child of the universe, far from the first tier. At that moment, Yi Tian truly realized he was not yet strong and needed to cultivate even harder. He set a new goal for himself to strive for the combat power of a peak child of the universe. Chapter 454.txt Chapter 455. The Purple Mountain Saber Realm. TL. Etude. Yi Tian briefly planned his cultivation progress, deciding for the moment to set aside his focus on divine abilities. For Yi Tian, he had already perfected his cultivation of the Phantom Gold Thread divine ability to the perfected realm. Although he could cultivate more divine abilities, they wouldn't be of much help. What truly would be of great use to him was the cultivation of a great divine ability, but in the short term, he had no way to exchange for a great divine ability inheritance, let alone cultivate one to completion. For Yi Tian, the method to rapidly enhance his strength now was to improve his Supreme Saber technique. Yi Tian's Supreme Saber technique was only at the beginner level. If he could cultivate it to the minor or major realm, it would definitely rapidly enhance his strength. The Supreme Saber technique was related to the realm of Saber Dao. Yi Tian's current realm in Saber Dao had only been enhanced to 77%. If he could comprehend up to 80%, he could cultivate the Supreme Saber Technique Heartless God Saber Technique to the minor realm, and his strength would inevitably surge. If I comprehend slowly, even with the time and insight talents, it would take 7 to 8 years, or even more than a decade, to hope to enhance my Saber Dao realm to 80%, and this requires uninterrupted comprehension, Yi Tian reflected. Such a speed of comprehension was too slow. If he were in the outside world, he could not enhance his comprehension speed, but in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, he could rapidly improve it. Yi Tian learned from Xia about some cultivation sacred lands, some of which were even open for free, albeit with time limitations. For instance, in the Yellow region, there was a Saber Dao sacred land where the speed of comprehending the Saber Dao realm was much faster than in the outside world, and it was effective even for sabermen who had reached 80% in their Saber Dao realm. However, a prince only had 1 month of comprehension time per year in such a place. Once exceeded, they must spend points to comprehend, with 1 point allowing for a Daya-esque comprehension. There were quite a few such cultivation sacred lands. As long as the princes strictly controlled their time, they could rapidly increase their strength in the Yellow region of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, which was much better than the cultivation environment in the outside world. But without points, those advanced cultivation sacred lands were inaccessible, and relying solely on these lower-tier cultivation sacred lands, it would soon become difficult to enhance Onia's strength. First, I'll go to that Saber Dao sacred land to enhance my Saber Dao realm, then cultivate the Heartless God Saber technique to the minor realm. That's the first step of the plan. Yi Tian decided. Immediately, he headed to the Saber Dao sacred land. In the yellow region of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, the Purple Mountain Saber Realm. Yi Tian arrived before a gigantic divine mountain. A huge divine saber phantom loomed over this realm. As soon as he approached, Yi Tian felt an extremely dense saber qi. This divine mountain in the yellow region was named Purple Mountain, for its body was entirely purple, and there was a saber realm at the peak, hence the name Purple Mountain Saber Realm. Whoosh! Yi Tian flew up to Purple Mountain, and upon entering the peak, it was as if he had arrived in a new world altogether. Boom! In the void, terrifying Saber Tao principles crushed everything in their path, making all other principles retreat. This was the true Saber Realm. As soon as he arrived, Yi Tian saw a dozen emperors and a god. Clearly, these people were princes of the yellow region. Another newcomer. One of the princes opened his eyes and glanced at Yi Tian, murmuring. Newcomers to the yellow region were nothing new, especially since there had been a large influx of newcomers recently, so they had grown accustomed to it. As Yi Tian walked towards the center of the Purple Mountain Saber Realm, where the best position for comprehension was, the dozen princes were also cultivating there. When Yi Tian walked over, the prince who had spoken earlier asked, which star field are you from? Maybe we re from the same place. A Pan star field. Yi Tian replied indifferently. The Pan star field, the ancient and weakest star field. The prince was slightly surprised. It's been a long time since a prince from the Pan star field came to the yellow region. My name is Bei Shan, may I ask how to address you? Prince Beishan, you can call me Prince of 10,000 Laws. Yi Tian replied indifferently. Prince Beishan was quite talkative, probably enjoying chatting with others. Even facing Yi Tian, a newcomer, he was quite engaged in conversation. He talked about everything, and soon, the conversation turned to a significant matter. Prince of 10,000 Laws, since you have just arrived at the Supreme Hall of Humanity, you probably don't know much about many things here. I advise you to use all your resources to enhance yourself. Becoming a prince of the Supreme Hall of Humanity used to be a great honor, but now, unfortunately, it's become a bit of an unfortunate situation, Prince Beishan lamented. Damn, why is that? Yi Tian frowned slightly. You don't know, decades ago, the yellow region lost many princes, and the only 3 eternal princes died in battle. Now, the strongest prince in the yellow region is just at the first tier of the peak level, and the princes in the mysterious, earth, and heavenly regions also suffered heavy losses. Prince Beishan sighed. What? Yi Tian's eyes widened in utter surprise. What had happened that so many princes had died? A prince was a child of the universe, whose status was incredibly high. Even forces on the level of the Undying Legion in the outside world wouldn't dare to kill a child of the universe. Moreover, those who died were ordinary children of the universe, even some from the mysterious, earth, and heavenly regions had fallen. This was definitely a major event. No wonder this time even 8 9-star peerless heavenly prides could come to the Supreme Hall of Humanity. Prince Qin Chen had said that I would know the reason in the future, so this is why. Yi Tian finally understood. The Supreme Hall of Humanity had lost many princes, so it began to expand its recruitment, even starting to recruit a large number of 9-star peerless heavenly prides. With a bit of training, these heavenly prides could also become children of the universe. Although such they wouldn't have great potential, they were still children of the universe. Prince Beishan, what exactly happened? Yi Tian asked. Prince Beishan spoke in a low voice, clashing with the children of the universe from other races. In a major event, our princes from the Supreme Hall of Humanity suffered heavy losses, but the losses of the princes from other races were not small either. What's more critical is that in another 100 years, a grand era will begin, and we, as princes of the yellow region, must represent the emperor level to participate. We, the older generation of emperor level princes, might still be able to sign up, but it will be troublesome for you newcomers. What about the god-level princes from the yellow region? Would they be able to represent the yellow region, right? Yi Tian asked through a transmission. Since there was a god-level prince here, it wasn't appropriate to say it out loud, so he could only ask through a transmission. Prince Beishan also replied through a transmission, the god-level princes from the yellow region naturally belong to the god-level tier and will definitely join the god-level princes from the mysterious regions in the event. However, the god-level princes from the yellow region also have a benefit. If they advance to the true god level, but still cannot enter the mysterious regions, they will be expelled, because the Supreme Hall of Humanity does not need waste. I reckon that by then, many god-level princes from the yellow region will forcibly advance to the true god level to avoid that grand event. In doing so, they will stay safe. But in this way, the god-level princes from the Yellow region will become true gods and be expelled from the Supreme Hall of Humanity, losing the chance to enter the Supreme Hall of Humanity again. Etn said. Ita's better than dying, right? Prince Bashan said. That's true. Etn nodded. The two chatted for a while longer before ending their conversation. Time for cultivation in the Purple Mountain Saber realm was precious and naturally could not be wasted. Etn then used his copy talent to check the talents of others, but he did not find any universal level cultivation talents. However, the cultivation talents of these princes were mostly at the cosmic level. Start comprehending. Etn found a spot slightly farther away from the others and began his cultivation comprehension, also activating his time talent and top-tier insight talent. Registered. Degree. He did not need to absorb Yuan Qi, so activating the time talent would not cause too much disturbance, making it hard for others to notice. This was also why Etn felt confident activating the time talent. As soon as he began comprehending, Etn felt his understanding of the Saber Dao deepening significantly, with remarkable effects. His Saber Dao realm, originally at 77%, was now rapidly advancing towards 78%. With the time talent and top-tier insight talent, Yitiana's cultivation speed far exceeded that of other princes. In just one day, Yitiana's Saber Dao realm had advanced to 78%, continuing to progress towards 79%. So fast, I can comprehend cultivation in the Purple Mountain Saber realm for a month. After 1 month, I will definitely be able to comprehend the Saber Dao realm to over 80%. Etn thought excitedly. Chapter 455.txt. Chapter 456. 6 Universal Gods, the Divine Canon Festival. Etude. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. @ubsection0.com. Etn opened his eyes, and deep within them, there was a look of joy. 82% mastery in the Saber Dao realm, a bit less than what I had anticipated. However, I had not expected that after reaching 82% in the Saber Dao realm, the effect of the Purple Mountain Saber realm on me would diminish greatly. Now, a Saber Dao sacred land like the Purple Mountain Saber realm is almost useless to me. Etn said with some helplessness. If he wanted to continue improving his mastery in the Saber Dao, he would need to rely on a higher level Saber Dao sacred land, otherwise, he could only rely on the slow passage of time to gradually comprehend the Saber Dao realm. The month was up, and if he continued his cultivation, his points would automatically be deducted. Thus, Etn left the Purple Mountain Saber realm and returned to his own cultivation tower to begin cultivating the Heartless God Saber technique. The cultivation tower had a special cultivation space capable of withstanding attacks from individuals of the prince level. Even if Etn used his saber techniques with full force, he would not damage this cultivation space, allowing him to freely execute the Heartless God Saber technique time after time. Therefore, Etn began to fervently cultivate the Heartless God Saber technique, striving to reach the minor achievement stage in the technique. 2 months later, the Heartless God Saber technique had finally been cultivated to the minor achievement stage by Etn. Afterward, Etn entered the Phantom World Battle Tower to attempt the 3rd layer of the tower but was narrowly defeated. His strength was still slightly lacking. However, Etn was now considered among the top-tier forces of the ordinary-level children of the universe, not far from the first-tier ordinary-level children of the universe. One day, Etn asked, Zia, do you know when the Divine Canon Festival begins? He had reached a bottleneck in his strength. He could not improve his Saber Dao realm for the time being, and it was also difficult to further enhance his divine abilities. As for other secret techniques, even if he cultivated them, it would be hard to significantly improve his strength. Therefore, Etn could only place his hopes on the Divine Canons. The Divine Canons were only possessed by the Supreme Hall of Humanity and represented the highest inheritance for children of the universe. Without cultivating the Divine Canons, it was difficult to elevate Onia's strength to the level of a peak child of the universe or eternal child of the universe. In the Purple Mountain Saber realm, Prince Bashan had mentioned that in a previous conflict with foreign races, all 3 eternal princes from the Yellow region had perished. And 100 years later, another grand era was about to begin. At the very least, Etn needed to elevate his strength to that of an eternal child of the universe to have a chance to control his own destiny. Otherwise, if he participated in that grand era, he could only rely on luck to survive. Yi Tian never left his life to chance, as luck was too unpredictable. Each child of the universe is blessed with incredible fortune, and although they encountered numerous opportunities, they still perished in battles against foreign races. Of course, Yi Tian was not afraid of that grand era and even longed to participate in it. For the arrival of a grand era inevitably meant the emergence of great opportunities. After all, if there were no interests to compete for, the human race would not put the children of the universe in danger. Every situation has its pros and cons. Where there is crisis, there is opportunity. Regardless of the circumstances, strength is the foundation of everything. Therefore, Yi Tian was eager to quickly enhance his strength, and cultivating the divine canons was his way to swiftly boost his power. Master, a few princes from the Supreme Hall of Humanity have yet to arrive. Once all princes have arrived, the Divine Canon Festival will begin. Zia explained. I see. Yi Tian understood. According to Zia, the Divine Canon Festival would soon commence. Half a month later, Zia came to see Yi Tian. Master, the higher-ups of the Supreme Hall of Humanity have announced that the Divine Canon Festival will begin in 3 days. Zia reported. Finally, Ida starting. Yi Tian was very excited. What is the significance of participating in the Divine Canon Festival? Yi Tian inquired. After some thought, Zia replied, Master, there are many divine canons in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, each different from the others and requiring different cultivation requirements. In short, the more powerful the divine canon, the higher the requirements. Master, Ida best to find a divine canon that best suits you. Additionally, to obtain a divine canon, one must gain its recognition, otherwise, Ida impossible to receive the inheritance of the divine canon. The Divine Canon Festival lasts only 1 day. If one does not receive the inheritance of a divine canon within that day, they can only wait for the next opportunity. 1 day. Yi Tian took careful note of this. 3 days later, Yi Tian followed Zia to the location of the Divine Canon Festival. Zia opened one spatial gate after another, constantly shuttling through them until they finally arrived at the space where the Divine Canon Festival was being held. This space contained a very large altar surrounded by imposing statues. There were 78 statues in total, both male and female. Through Zia's explanations, Yi Tian learned that these statues represented the pinnacle existences of the human race, each with an unimaginable reputation among the myriad races of the universe. Even mighty beings like the Undying Legion Lord from the Pan-Star Field were nothing more than ants in the eyes of these 78 top existences. By this time, quite a few princes had gathered here, including Prince Whitebone. Prince Whitebone approached Yi Tian upon seeing him. Both being children of the universe from the Pan-Star Field, they naturally felt a closer bond. Prince of 10,000 laws. Prince Whitebone. Yi Tian and Prince Whitebone greeted each other and soon engaged in conversation. Before long, around 100 children of the universe had gathered here. Currently, there were 72 star fields in the human race, and on average, 2 children of the universe were born in each star field during this period, totaling 72 children of the universe. Some star fields were stronger, naturally giving birth to a few more children of the universe, so it was not surprising to see 100 new children of the universe suddenly appear. Finally, the number of children of the universe was set at 103. At that moment, streams of light flashed, transforming into several figures. There were 6 individuals, each with an aura as vast as the universe. They are the 6 universal gods. Prince Whitebone said with a slight surprise. Universal gods were a realm above the galaxy level, the realm that the Undying Legion Lord was at. In the entire Pan-Star Field, only the 4 supreme forces possessed universal gods, and each supreme force had at most 2 universal gods, and some even only 1. This highlighted the rarity of universal gods, who were almost never seen. For instance, Yi Tian had not seen a universal god in the Pan-Star Field. But now, he was suddenly seeing 6 universal gods. Yi Tian was not very far from these 6 universal gods, only about 100 meters away. Although his copy talent was greatly suppressed in the Supreme Hall of Humanity, after the last transformation by the Cosmic Origin, the coverage of his copy talent had significantly expanded. Even within the Supreme Hall of Humanity, it could cover several thousand meters, so it immediately enveloped these 6 universal gods. 6 universal level cultivation talents. If it were before, Yi Tian would have been excited, but now he showed no such excitement. Apart from the 6 universal gods having universal-level cultivation talents, among the 103 princes present, there were also several with universal-level cultivation talents. So, he was not lacking in universal-level cultivation talents. A universal-level cultivation talent, copy. A universal-level cultivation talent, copy. A. Yi Tian copied these universal-level cultivation talents one by one. Although he only needed one universal-level cultivation talent, copying several more and integrating them into his own talent was not a bad idea. Once he returned, he could integrate the universal-level cultivation talents, transforming his own cultivation talent, and then he would possess a cultivation talent above the universal level. At that moment, one of the universal gods on the altar spoke, I am Lord Dantai, the Hall Enforcer of the Yellow Region in the Supreme Hall of Humanity. This time, along with the other 5 Hall Enforcers, I am responsible for opening the Divine Canon Festival. You all are the new princes of the Supreme Hall of Humanity, and there are some rules I must explain. A. Lord Dantai essentially reiterated what Xia had told Yi Tian, albeit in different wording, but the gist was the same. After explaining these rules, Lord Dantai added, the Divine Canon Festival will begin shortly. Everyone, prepare yourselves. Choose a divine canon that suits you, but don't aim too high. Some divine canons, although powerful, are too difficult to cultivate. Even if they suit you, it's best not to choose them. Each prince can only cultivate one divine canon, with no second choice. A. Many princes below nodded, but what they truly thought remained unknown. Boom! The 6 universal gods activated the altar, and the 78 statues around the altar began to emit dazzling light. These lights converged, forming a massive array. Suddenly, the space split open, and a corner of a world descended into this space. That world was the Divine Canon world, housing a vast number of divine canons. Enter the Divine Canon world. Lord Dantai announced. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. One by one, the princes cold Nati wait to fly into the Divine Canon world, and both Yi Tian and Prince Whitebone also flew in. The selection of the Divine Canon inheritance began. Chapter 456.txt Chapter 457 The Supreme Chaos Divine Canon. TL. Etude. In the world of divine canons, there was nothing but emptiness. Within the void, there were orbs of light, and inside each orb, there lay a vast tome. These tomes were the divine canons. Each one represented the essence of humanity, one of the highest inheritances of mankind, with a value beyond imagination. It could even be said that a single divine canon was far more valuable than a universal god. After all, if a universal god perished, another could be cultivated. Humanity was not lacking in universal gods. The strength humanity had developed to this day was not reliant on universal gods, but rather on the existences that stood above them. Therefore, the death of a universal god would not affect the overall strength of humanity, but the loss of a divine canon would shake the very foundations of humanity. Conversely, the addition of a universal god would not significantly enhance humanity's strength, but the addition of a divine canon would be of great significance. 78 divine canons. Yi Tian scanned the area and thought to himself. There were a total of 78 orbs of light, representing 78 divine canons, and likewise, there were 78 top existences among humanity. Could it be that the divine canons were created by the top existences of humanity, and each top existence could only create one divine canon? Why not create several? Yi Tian had many questions in his mind. However, he shook his head and stopped pondering these questions. There were too many things in the universe that he did not understand. It was unnecessary to delve too deeply. The orbs of light containing the 78 divine canons varied in size. Among them, 12 orbs emitted a golden light and were significantly larger, situated at the center of the world of divine canons. Clearly, the divine canons within these 12 golden orbs were the most powerful among all the divine canons. Let us sense them one by one. Yi Tian approached the nearest orb of light, placed his hand on its surface, and sensed the divine canon within. From what he had learned from Xia, to find out if a divine canon was suitable for oneself, one should follow the call of the heart. The call of the heart. Yi Tian closed his eyes and opened his mind. He felt no repulsion, only a sense of warmth flowing through his heart. This feeling indicated suitability. A divine canon of the gold Tao. Yi Tian suddenly understood. He possessed a god-level, gold attribute talent, meaning the divine canon of the gold Tao was suitable for him. However, Yi Tian decided to forego this divine cannon. Cultivating it would be a waste. After all, he possessed many talents and was not solely focused on the path of the gold attribute. Moreover, this divine canon was relatively ordinary among the 78 divine canons, and naturally, he was not interested in it. He continued his search. Soon, Yi Tian sensed one orb after another, discovering that he was basically suitable for all of them, with varying degrees of suitability. In summary, none of the divine canons rejected Yi Tian. They copied too many talents. My body completely aligns with any divine canon. If I choose an ordinary one, I won't be satisfied. Yi Tian pondered for a moment and then turned his gaze to the 12 golden orbs at the center. Whoosh! Yi Tian flew towards the 12 golden orbs. Outside, the 6 universal gods were observing the situation in the space of divine canons, keeping a close watch. Suddenly, they noticed Yi Tian. As he inspected many orbs and then flew towards the golden orbs, they frowned. This youngster has looked at quite a few orbs, and those divine canons seemed quite suitable for him. Some were very fitting, yet he aims too high, setting his sights on those 12 supreme divine canons. Heya probably just curious. Ida unlikely Heya choose one. His steward must have advised him, and Wei warned him too. He can't be confident enough to cultivate a supreme divine canon. What good is a reminder? Every generation, there are people who attempt to cultivate the supreme divine canons, only to make slow progress or even fail to grasp the basics, eventually fading into obscurity. The supreme divine canons were created by the 12 most powerful supreme beings of our human race. They are extremely difficult to cultivate. Even if we could reincarnate and start over, we wouldn't dare to attempt these 12 supreme divine canons. Over such a long period, many children of the universe have tried to cultivate the 12 supreme divine canons, but how many have truly succeeded? Even among those who have succeeded, how many have reached a high level of mastery? In my opinion, these 12 supreme divine canons should be hidden away, so these children of the universe don't even know about them, or else they won't be able to resist choosing them. Shish, that's the decision of the supremes. We'd better not give our opinions. Besides, the Supremes might also be watching over this place. Let us not talk recklessly, or if we anger a Supreme, we'll be in big trouble. The 6 universal gods stopped discussing and watched silently. At this moment, Yi Tian had already arrived in front of a golden orb, placed his hand on it, and sensed the divine canon within. Not. The supreme sword Dao divine canon. Yi Tian felt a gentle aura from this supreme divine canon, indicating a good match for him. However, since he didn't primarily practice the sword Dao, he immediately let it go. Afterward, Yi Tian sensed a few other golden orbs of the supreme divine canons. Among them, there was a divine canon representing the supreme fist technique, one for the supreme spear technique, one for the supreme 5 elements Dao, one for the supreme Dao of life, and another for the supreme Dao of destruction. Suddenly, Yi Tian felt an incredibly fitting gentle sensation from one of the golden orbs. The Supreme Saber Dao Divine Canon. Since he primarily practiced the Saber Dao, this Supreme Divine Canon was exceedingly suitable for him. Yi Tian almost couldn't contain his excitement and wanted to choose this Supreme Divine Canon right then. But he held back, because there was still one Divine Canon he hadn't sensed yet. This Divine Canon was also in the center, represented by the largest and brightest orb, far surpassing the other supreme divine canons. Obviously, this divine canon was undoubtedly the most powerful legacy in the entire space of divine canons. Yi Tian released his hand and walked towards the last divine canon orb. This divine canon might also be a perfect match for me. If it truly suits me, should I choose it or the supreme Saber Dao divine canon? Yi Tian was undecided in his heart. Regardless of the situation, he was determined to choose a supreme divine canon. As for the ordinary divine canons, he had no interest in them at all. Others might not succeed with supreme divine canons, but Yi Tian felt confident in his ability to master one. With his talents, if he couldn't master it, he believed no one in the human race could. Whoosh! Yi Tian placed his hand on the last divine canon orb. He closed his eyes and opened his mind to sense it. Boom! Yi Tian's spirit seemed to perfectly merge with this divine canon orb, feeling even more fitting than with the other divine canon orbs. At this moment, golden light even burst forth from Yi Tian's body, merging as one with the orb. This phenomenon caught the attention of the 6 universal gods outside. Thissa Lord Dantai stared wide-eyed, incredulously at Etn in the space of divine cannons. That is a perfect match. What is a perfect match? Ida S the most fitting divine canon, as if tailor-made. Sometimes, even the creators of the divine canons might not perfectly match the divine canons they created, which shows how difficult a perfect match is. Oh, what a pity. One of the universal gods sighed, if it were any other divine canon, a perfect match would be a good thing. But this is a supreme divine canon, and among them, Ida S the most powerful one. No child of the universe has ever fully mastered this divine canon to perfection. Even if this child of the universe is a perfect match, it will likely be very difficult for him to reach a high level of mastery. Should we warn him not to choose this supreme divine canon? If he chooses it, wouldn't that be A? The Supremes have ordered that we must not interfere in any way with the children of the universe's choice of divine canons. Have you forgotten that command? The universal gods shuddered and then shook their heads. They dared not defy the Supremeso order. As for whether Etn would choose this supreme divine canon, they would not intervene. This Isa Etn was quite surprised at this moment. Although he did not know what a perfect match was, he clearly felt that this divine canon was the most suitable for him, even more so than the supreme Saber Tao divine canon. The supreme chaos divine canon. This supreme divine canon astonishingly encompassed many attributes, representing the chaotic attribute that included all things. And Etn, having copied a multitude of talents, already possessed a body that contained various attributes, even capable of being described as a body of chaotic attributes, naturally making him a perfect match for this supreme chaos divine canon. Now, he was hesitating. Clearly, this supreme chaos divine canon was more difficult to cultivate than the other supreme divine canons, probably the most challenging one. Buddha it suits me the best and can bring out my advantages to the greatest extent. Chaos includes all things, whereas the other supreme divine canons at best can only bring out part of my advantages, far from what this supreme chaos divine canon can. Yi Tian pondered for a long time. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. By then, the other princes had mostly made their choices, with only Yi Tian still undecided. Finally, he made a decision. Chapter 457.txt Chapter 458 Chaos Body Refining Technique, the 12 Major Attributes. TL. Etude. AELL Choose the Supreme Chaos Divine Canon. This Supreme Divine Canon is the most suitable for me. With my talent, I might be able to cultivate this Supreme Chaos Divine Canon to its highest realm. Neither the Saber Tao Supreme Divine Canon nor any other Supreme Divine Canons can maximize my strength. Only this Supreme Chaos Divine Canon can enable me to reach the pinnacle among the children of the universe. Yi Tian made his choice and stepped into the inheritance space of the Supreme Chaos Divine Canon. Boom! A flood of inheritance knowledge poured into Yi Tian's mind, gradually forming an inheritance mark. Once the inheritance mark was formed, Yi Tian could contemplate the Supreme Chaos Divine Canon at any time, but he could only cultivate it himself and cold nati pass it on to others. This was the magical aspect of the Divine Canon. At this time, the princes were dumbfounded, looking at Yi Tian in disbelief as he chose the most powerful inheritance. They felt no envy, only thinking that Yi Tian was insane. Each of them was a prodigious talent of their era, standing at the pinnacle in their respective star fields, ranked among the children of the universe. Even so, they dared not choose one of the 12 supreme divine canons, for without extraordinary talent, it was impossible to cultivate these supreme divine canons. Webno. Degree Diaresis M. However, Yi Tian not only chose a supreme divine canon but also the most powerful one among them. This was madness. If he could not cultivate it, he would definitely become the weakest prince in the Yellow region, until he was expelled from the Supreme Hall of Humanity. In the outside world, the 6 universal gods were also stunned. This kid is really insane. He actually chose the most powerful Supreme Chaos Divine Canon. If he had chosen any other divine canon, he might have had a slight chance of success. But he chose the most powerful Supreme Chaos Divine Canon, which is very difficult to cultivate. In my opinion, at most, you can only become a peak child of the universe, or even remain an ordinary child of the universe forever. Lord Dantai commented. Let it be. It was his choice to select this supreme divine canon, and we cannot interfere. Let us just assume that the Yellow region is short of one prince. There is no need to dwell on it. Right, we are universal gods, why bother over a prince? As they spoke, the 6 universal gods no longer took Yi Tiana's matter to heart. Soon after, Yi Tian fully inherited the supreme chaos divine canon. Then, he left the world of the divine canon. Just as he was about to leave, Prince Whitebone came to Yi Tiana's side. A prince of 10,000 laws, you actually chose that most powerful supreme divine canon. Arena tu being too bold. Prince Whitebone's eyes were full of regret. In his view, Yi Tian was undoubtedly a very powerful child of the universe, with both strength and potential surpassing his own. He believed that Yi Tian was destined to become a peak child of the universe, and even had a slim chance to become an eternal child of the universe. But now, Yi Tian had chosen that most powerful supreme divine canon, and perhaps he wouldn't be able to cultivate it at all, making it difficult for him to even reach the level of a peak child of the universe. Prince Whitebone, I have my own plans. Yi Tian replied. Well, you have already made your choice, and regret is useless now. Prince Whitebone shook his head and turned to leave. At this moment, Xia came to Yi Tiana's side and said, Master, you chose the strongest supreme divine canon. Didn't I remind you to choose a divine canon that fits you? But you shouldn't have gone so far as to choose one of those powerful ones. Why didn't you listen? Xia's face turned red, obviously frustrated by Yi Tiana's actions. Yi Tian, looking at Xia in such a state, smiled and said, Xia, do you have so little faith in your master? What if I can cultivate it and even reach a very high realm? It's impossible. Xia said, although I was born not long ago, many pieces of information are shared among us phantom spirits. To my knowledge, the strongest divine canon in the divine canon space was created by the most powerful supreme being of our humanity. Even the supreme being himself hadn't cultivated that divine canon initially but created it slowly over countless years after becoming a supreme being. Over the long and endless years, many children of the universe with heaven-defying talents also chose that supreme divine canon, but basically, none could cultivate it successfully. A few were lucky enough to make some initial progress, but ultimately, they couldn't continue cultivating it. Master, why don't we ask the higher-ups of the Supreme Hall of Humanity to let you switch to another divine canon? No, this supreme divine canon will do. Yi Tian declared very decisively. Master, you will regret this later. Xia pouted. Alright, let us go back. Yi Tian commanded. Although Xia was somewhat angry, she didn't forget her duty as a steward and thus, led Yi Tian away from there, returning to the yellow region. As soon as they returned to the cultivation tower, Yi Tian immersed himself in the cultivation chamber. Within the cultivation chamber, Yi Tiana's consciousness delved into the supreme chaos divine canon, starting to peruse the inheritance content of this supreme divine canon. In fact, this supreme chaos divine canon had its true name of the chaos body refining technique. This divine canon could only be cultivated by the children of the universe. If others tried to force their cultivation, they would surely suffer physical breakdown and death, regardless of how strong their cultivation was. It could be said that the divine canon was specifically prepared for the children of the universe, containing the powers of various Tao of the universe, and the chaos body refining technique represented the most perfect Tao of chaos. As time passed bit by bit, although the content of the chaos body refining technique wasn't very long, it was extremely abstruse. Yi Tian needed to roughly comprehend its meanings to understand it. Thus, he spent several days just to roughly understand the cultivation requirements and general situation of this supreme divine canon, the chaos body refining technique. No wonder very few can truly cultivate this chaos body refining technique. It actually requires at least 7 attribute talents to begin cultivation. Time, space, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, darkness, light. These are the 12 major attributes of the universe. Other attributes are extensions of these 12, hence, they also belong to these 12 major attributes and are recognized by the Tao. Thus, these 12 attributes are also recognized by heaven and earth as the 12 branches of chaos. Once the 12 branches of the Tao are merged, the Tao of all beings can be derived. One must gather 7 attributes to cultivate the chaos body refining technique, and all 7 attributes must be of God level to even reach the entry level of cultivation. Yi Tian finally understood the difficulty of cultivating the chaos body refining technique. How could a normal child of the universe possibly have 7 God level attribute talents? Therefore, it's very hard for a child of the universe to cultivate the chaos body refining technique. Forcing cultivation could only lead to failure and even damage to Onia's foundation. Moreover, even if one really possesses 7 God-level attribute talents, barely meeting the requirement to cultivate the chaos body refining technique, it's only enough to reach the entry level. To cultivate the chaos body refining technique to the highest realm, one must possess all 12 attributes at the God level, including time and space talents. Such a requirement, even Etienne as of now, could not meet. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, light, darkness. Etienne had already merged all these 10 attribute talents to God level through repeated copying over the years, but the time and space talents were far from meeting the criteria. The space talent was slightly better, having reached the mystic level, but the time talent was still at the pseudo-mystic level. Thus, with his current talent, Etienne could not cultivate the chaos body refining technique to the highest realm. Buddha, I have the talent copying ability. It's not impossible to elevate my space and time talents to the God level. Therefore, I have a chance to cultivate the chaos body refining technique to the highest realm. Moreover, even without the time and space talents, my other 10 attributes have reached the God level, which is enough to cultivate the chaos body refining technique to a very high level, helping me step into the power level of an eternal child of the universe with ease. Thinking this, Etienne could not help but smile. Everyone thought he could not cultivate it, but in his eyes, the chaos body refining technique was undoubtedly the best divine canon. Of course, the chaos body refining technique was indeed very difficult to cultivate, and this was no exaggeration. The chaos body refining technique had 7 layers. Cultivating the first layer meant entry level, the third layer meant minor achievement, the fifth layer meant major achievement, and the 7th layer meant perfection. Once the first layer of the chaos body refining technique was cultivated, coupled with progress in other aspects, Etienne could definitely step into the power level of a peak child of the universe. However, cultivating the chaos body refining technique required the aid of chaos yuan qi. Although the yellow region also had chaos yuan qi, it was not very dense. Considering the concentration of chaos yuan qi in the yellow region, it would probably take a long time for Etienne to cultivate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. First, I need to fully comprehend the content of the first layer of the chaos body refining technique, then buy some chaos resources to cultivate. Etienne planned. Chapter 458.txt Chapter 459. The first tier ordinary child of the universe. TL. Etude. The chaos body refining technique was arcane and difficult to comprehend. To cultivate it, one needed to fully understand the intricacies of the chaos body refining technique. For an ordinary child of the universe, it would take several years just to fully grasp the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. If they then attempted to cultivate it, it would require even more time. This was actually quite fair, as divine canons that were both easy to understand and powerful in cultivation were exceedingly rare. In the universe, the more powerful the techniques, secret arts, and divine abilities, the more difficult and challenging their cultivation would be. The chaos body refining technique was no exception. However, Etienne possessed the time and comprehension talent, which made understanding the first layer of the chaos body refining technique not difficult at all. In just 5 days, Etienne had completely mastered the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. Then, he began his attempt at cultivation. Boom! The chaotic yuan qi surrounding the cultivation tower surged towards Etienne, rapidly absorbed by his body. Under the refinement of the first layer of the chaos body refining technique, his physical body was strengthened, his soul was nourished, and his yuan force was enhanced. Divine canons provided comprehensive improvements to the children of the universe, without any shortcomings in any aspect. That was why divine canons were considered one of the strongest inheritances of humanity, capable of transforming and growing the children of the universe continuously. Being strong in body, spirit, and essence was the true definition of strength. Otherwise, strength in one aspect alone would be considered a flaw, and the manual could not be considered a powerful divine canon. If it could not enhance all 3 aspects of essence, spirit, and body, it would not qualify as one of humanity's strongest inheritances and would not be so precious. At this moment, Etienne felt his body slowly transforming. Although the overall effect was not very rapid, compared to the past, this speed was much faster. Moreover, Yi Tian had never been able to cultivate his soul before, but now his soul was being nourished, and its strength was gradually increasing. The effects are good, but relying on this speed, it would take 300 years to fully cultivate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. Even with my talent and time, it would still require 10 years. I cannot wait that long. Yi Tian did not want to spend 10 years to cultivate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique fully. If he became a peak child of the universe after 10 years, he would only be a third-tier peak child of the universe, which was far from being an eternal child of the universe. However, a grand event was approaching in 100 years. As cultivation progressed, it became increasingly difficult. If it took 10 years to advance to a peak child of the universe, then in 100 years, he would definitely not be able to reach the strength of an eternal child of the universe. It looks like I must rely on chaotic resources. Yi Tian murmured to himself. Zia. Yi Tian called out. Swish. Zia appeared in front of Yi Tian. Master, what are your orders? Zia asked. The Supreme Hall of Humanity has some chaotic resources. I want to buy some. Help me purchase some. I have 400 points on hand. As long as it does not exceed 400 points, you can buy as you see fit. Yi Tian handed his identity token to Zia and commanded. Master, you still want to cultivate that supreme divine canon that you cannot master. You are wasting points. Zia said with a look of disappointment. Just go and buy them. That's an order. Yi Tian said sternly. Yes. Zia complied and then left. Yi Tian did not tell Zia about his copy talent, not because he was afraid of leaks. He knew Zia would not leak the information. Although phantom spirits could share information, they only shared basic information and what they were willing to share. They would not reveal the secrets of each prince or princess, and as long as they did not betray humanity, phantom spirits would not even reveal secrets to the higher-ups. Thus, phantom spirits kept things strictly confidential. Yet, Yi Tian still wanted to keep a low profile until the right opportunity arose to reveal himself. Before long, Zia returned, holding a storage ring. Master, these are the 5 pieces of chaotic resources purchased to assist in cultivation, totaling 370 points. Zia handed over the storage ring and the identity token to Yi Tian. Alright, you may leave now. Yi Tian waved his hand dismissively. After Zia had left, Yi Tian opened the storage ring and took out the 5 chaotic resources. These chaotic resources contained incredibly pure and dense chaotic yuan qi, akin to spiritual medicines, providing significant benefits to cultivation. Such chaotic resources might not even be possessed by the 4 dominant forces, but the Supreme Hall of Humanity had many, which Yi Tian had learned from browsing the information in the Inheritance Pagoda. Yi Tian placed one of the chaotic resources, which resembled a rock, in his palm and began to operate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique, absorbing the chaotic yuan qi within the resource to refine his body, yuan force, and soul. Boom! A vast amount of chaotic yuan qi surged into Yi Tian's body, accelerating his cultivation. With the help of the chaotic resources, Yi Tian's cultivation speed increased manifold. Cent. Cubed cent. Copyright. At this rate, with the assistance of his time acceleration talent, Yi Tian estimated that it would take at most 6 months to fully cultivate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. However, Yi Tian was concerned that the 5 chaotic resources might not be sufficient. As days passed, especially in the accelerated time environment, although Yi Tian's cultivation speed was fast, the consumption of the chaotic resources was also rapid. To ensure that the chaotic resources were enough to cultivate the first layer of the chaos body refining technique, Yi Tian had to use them sparingly, absorbing chaotic yuan qi from the yellow region after depleting each resource. In this manner, a year passed. One day, after exhausting the last chaotic resource, Yi Tian finally cultivated the first layer of the chaos body refining technique. Although it took 6 months longer than initially estimated, Yi Tian had achieved his goal. When he successfully cultivated the first layer, Yi Tian's physical body, yuan force, and soul all underwent significant improvements and transformations, as if reborn, even his physique transformed into a chaos body. So powerful, just by cultivating the first layer of the chaos body refining technique, and merely entering the first layer without fully mastering it, my strength has increased manifold. If I can cultivate the chaos body refining technique to a minor accomplishment, even without significant progress in other areas, I should be able to reach the strength of an eternal child of the universe, right? Yi Tian speculated. Next, Yi Tian entered the Phantom World Battle Tower, challenging the 3rd floor of the tower. This time, Yi Tian easily passed the 3rd floor of the battle tower. Then, Yi Tian continued to challenge the 4th floor. If he could pass the 4th floor, he would possess the strength of a peak child of the universe. However, after a long struggle, Yi Tian was defeated by the 10 black-clad warriors on the 4th floor, although he managed to defeat 8 of them. My strength is just below that of a peak child of the universe, mainly because my supreme saber technique has progressed slowly. Plus, I just cultivated the 1st layer of the chaos body refining technique. If I can make a bit more progress, I should be able to pass the 4th floor of the battle tower, and then I'll have the strength of a peak child of the universe. Yi Tian was not discouraged and prepared to continue using chaotic resources for cultivation, which should quickly elevate his strength to that of a peak child of the universe. Zia. Yi Tian called out to Zia again. Swish. Zia appeared and asked, Master, what are your orders? Go and buy me some more chaotic resources. Yi Tian commanded. Zia's eyes widened in surprise, staring at Yi Tian in astonishment, as if to say, Master, where do you still have points? Seeing Zia's expression, Yi Tian immediately knew what she meant and said with a smile, I just passed the 3rd floor of the battle tower and obtained another 400 points, which is enough to buy a few chaotic resources. What, Master, you passed the 3rd floor of the battle tower, how is that possible? Zia was incredibly surprised. Passing the 4th floor represented the strength of a 1st-tier ordinary child of the universe, which, even in the entire yellow region, was considered medium strength. And Yi Tian had only been in the yellow region for a short time, let alone having received the divine canon for only a year, and that manual was supposedly impossible to master. In her estimation, it would take Yi Tian many more years to pass the 3rd floor of the battle tower. But now, Yi Tian told her that he had already passed the 3rd floor. Master, did you master that supreme divine canon? Zia took a deep breath and asked. Secret. Yi Tian replied indifferently. Keeping secrets, I know even if you don't tell me. Zia had already concluded in her heart that Yi Tian had mastered that supreme divine canon, naturally feeling proud and honored for her master. If her master was powerful, as his little steward, she would also gain face, and she could hold her head high in front of her peers in the future. Master, I'll go buy the chaotic resources for you right away. Taking Yi Tiana's identity token, Zia hurriedly left. Chapter 459.txt Chapter 460 Gathering the 5 Elements Great Divine Ability. Etude. In no time, Yi Tian managed to purchase the 5 chaotic resources needed. Following this, he entered into seclusion once again, using these 5 chaotic resources to continue cultivating the 1st layer of the chaos body refining technique. Before long, half a year had passed. With the aid of the 5 chaotic resources, Yi Tian made significant progress in refining his body with the chaos body refining technique. As he refined his cultivation technique, Yi Tiana's strength also saw considerable enhancement. One day, Yi Tian once again challenged the battle tower in the Phantom World. After a fierce battle, he finally defeated the black-robed warriors on the 4th level and successfully passed the 4th layer of combat. This indicated that Yi Tian had achieved the strength of a peak-level Universe child, albeit at the 3rd tier of the peak level, which was much stronger than an ordinary Universe child. According to Prince Baishan, there were no eternal Universe children in the yellow region of the Supreme Hall of Humanity at present. The strongest in the yellow region was only a peak-level Universe child of the 1st tier. It could be said that Yi Tian was now on par with the strongest in the yellow region at the peak level. Given a few more decades, he would undoubtedly have the potential to become the strongest emperor-class prince in the yellow region. After passing the 4th level of the battle tower previously, I was rewarded with 800 points. Now, I have nearly 900 points in total. I must make good use of these 900 points. Yi Tian knew that these 900 points were not enough to cultivate the chaos body refining technique to a minor completion stage, but they could be used to purchase divine abilities. The 5 elements great divine ability could be divided into 5 top-tier divine abilities. Since Yi Tian had already mastered the water-sinking realm ability and the phantom gold thread ability, he only needed to exchange for the other 3 top-tier divine abilities to complete the 5 elements great divine ability. A top-tier divine ability could be purchased for 200 points, so Yi Tian would need only 600 points to exchange for the other 3 top-tier divine abilities. With nearly 900 points at his disposal, he had more than enough to exchange for the 3 divine abilities. Therefore, Yi Tian entered the Phantom World and the Heritage Treasure Hall. Inside the Heritage Treasure Hall, Yi Tian once again encountered the phantom spirit guarding the hall. Hong Ling. Hong Ling, I wish to exchange for the Wood Heaven divine ability, the Fire Cloud divine ability, and the Dust Realm divine ability from the 4th layer of the Heritage Treasure Hall. Yi Tian spoke up. The Wood Heaven divine ability, the Fire Cloud divine ability, and the Dust Realm divine ability were the 3 top-tier divine abilities that Yi Tian needed. Along with the Water Sinking Realm divine ability and the Phantom Gold Thread divine ability, they would form the 5 Elements Great divine ability. Prince of 10,000 Laws, are you intending to cultivate the 5 Elements Great divine ability? Hong Ling asked with some surprise. Yes. Yi Tian nodded in affirmation. He had no need to hide this fact, and it would not have been possible to do so anyway. Normally, one would not exchange for these 3 divine abilities unless they intended to cultivate the 5 Elements Great divine ability, otherwise, it would be meaningless. After all, the essence of divine abilities lies in quality, not quantity. One great divine ability surpasses thousands of ordinary ones. Even if a prince cultivated hundreds of divine abilities, they would be utterly overpowered by another who had mastered a great divine ability. This is the terrifying aspect of great divine abilities, far beyond comparison with ordinary ones. However, cultivating the 5 Elements Great divine ability was extremely difficult. According to what Yi Tian knew, even if one gathered all the necessary methods to cultivate the abilities, reaching the entry-level realm of the 5 Elements Great divine ability required the assistance of the 5 elemental characters of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, which are among the 55 heavenly Tao characters. Without these characters, it would be impossible to cultivate the great divine abilities. Although Yi Tian was currently unable to cultivate the 5 Elements Great divine ability, he wanted to gather all the necessary cultivation methods in advance. Otherwise, if he became eligible to cultivate them in the future but lacked the complete methods, he would regret it immensely. Thus, Yi Tian decided to spend 600 points to purchase the top-tier divine abilities and gather the 5 Elements Great divine ability. Prince of 10,000 Laws, great divine abilities are not easy to cultivate, and among them, the 5 Elements Great divine ability are particularly powerful in top tier, making them much more difficult to cultivate than ordinary great divine abilities. To cultivate the 5 Elements Great divine ability, you must gather the 5 elemental characters of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth among the 55 heavenly characters. Although these 5 characters are relatively common among the heavenly characters, their value can even tempt galaxy-level beings, so they are not easy to collect. Hong Ling cautioned. I understand, thank you for the reminder, but I still wish to proceed with the exchange. Yi Tian said. Hong Ling did not try to dissuade Yi Tian any further and led him to inherit the Wood Heaven divine ability, the Fire Cloud divine ability, and the Dust Realm divine ability. Soon after, Yi Tian received the inheritance and fully memorized the contents of these 3 divine abilities, and the 600 points were deducted from his account by the Heritage Treasure Hall. Emerging from the Heritage Treasure Hall, Yi Tian's consciousness returned to the yellow area. Shortly afterward, a phantom spirit delivered all the materials required for the Wood Heaven divine ability, the Fire Cloud divine ability, and the Dust Realm divine ability to Yi Tian. These materials were included with the purchase of the 3 top-tier divine abilities. Now that Eve collected all the 5 Elements Great divine ability, I'll start by cultivating the Wood Heaven divine ability, the Fire Cloud divine ability, and the Dust Realm divine ability. Once I gather the 5 elemental characters of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, I can then cultivate the 5 Elements Great divine ability. Thus, Yi Tian began his cultivation starting with the Wood Heaven divine ability. With the help of his time and insight talents, coupled with his status as a child of the universe, cultivating divine abilities became easier for him. In just 10 days, he successfully cultivated the Wood Heaven divine ability to the entry-level realm. Subsequently, Yi Tian spent another 20 days and finally cultivated both the Fire Cloud divine ability and the Dust Realm divine ability to the entry-level realm as well. At this point, Yi Tian had mastered 5 top-tier divine abilities, leaving only the 5 elemental characters to fully master the 5 Elements Great divine ability. A heavenly characters, the supreme hall of humanity must have them, but I don't know how I can obtain them. Yi Tian was keen to acquire the 5 elemental characters of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, but he knew it would be difficult. He currently possessed only one heavenly character, which was a saber. Although this character could enhance his comprehension of the saber Dao, its true utility was in allowing Yi Tian to forge his own path in the saber Dao and create ultimate techniques of the saber Dao. Unfortunately, Yi Tian had not yet comprehended any supreme-level saber techniques to a perfect level, so the Asabara heavenly character was not of much help to him at the moment. However, once Yi Tian advanced his saber Dao to 90% mastery, this Asabara heavenly character would unleash its truly heaven-defying effects. Zia. Yi Tian called for his steward, Zia. With a swish, Zia appeared. Master, what do you need Zia for? Zia asked. Zia, do you know where in the Supreme Hall of Humanity I can obtain the 5 elemental characters of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth? Yi Tian inquired. Master, you want to obtain heavenly characters. That's going to be difficult. Zia explained, the Supreme Hall of Humanity indeed possesses many heavenly characters, but they are mostly in the hands of universal gods. Heavenly characters are useful even to them, as the universal gods also wish to cultivate great divine abilities. So, you cannot buy heavenly characters with points, they are not for sale. However, Zia pondered for a few seconds, then suddenly added, in over 90 years, a grand era will begin, and the Supreme Hall of Humanity will extensively cultivate its princes. Master, you might have a chance to obtain heavenly characters then. Here is a recent mission that Master might want to look at. With a wave of her hand, Zia conjured a virtual screen in front of Yi Tian. Assassination mission. Assassinate the Emperor-level sub-god race ordinary Universi's child, Prince Yuan Yu. Completing the mission will reward the fire elemental heavenly character. Assassination mission. Assassinate the Emperor-level divine race peak Universi's child, Prince Zan Mie. Completing the mission will reward the gold elemental heavenly character. One after another, assassination missions appeared, each offering a heavenly character as a reward, enough to attract many princes. However, such missions were not easy to complete, and the likelihood of failure was high. The sub-god race and the divine race were alien races, with the divine race's strength even surpassing that of the human race, and the sub-god race, though not weaker than the human race, was still a formidable race. Assassinating their princes meant entering their territories, making it extremely difficult to succeed. Even if one were lucky enough to successfully assassinate a target, since they were Emperor-level Universi's children, beings above the Emperor level could not intervene. However, their eternal Universi's children at the Emperor level could, making it just as difficult to return. In short, these missions were essentially trading Onia's life for rewards. Yi Tian was confident in assassinating an ordinary Universi's child and had a fair chance of escaping. But if the target was in seclusion for decades, he could not possibly wait for decades. Therefore, he was not interested in taking on these missions. Suddenly, one mission caught Yi Tian's attention.